up, Woodward? We are starting off your day with a brand new crew. Meet Broder.
I can't control my arms sometimes. My limbs are just kind of flying.
Detroit Kool-Aid.
Fired up!
Y'all got Kool-Aid
I'm
hot.
fired up! But with the Wake Up Woodward crew, he's actually a part of the family.
Flannel Sam.
Ask me about my wiener! Okay.
Along with JB and KG. Wake Up Woodward gets you all of your Detroit sports talk. Every morning, 8 to 10 a.m. Live on Woodward Sports. A show for Detroit, by Detroit, with people from Detroit. Tell Siri to set an alarm, because it's time to Wake Up Woodward.
What up, though, people? It's Wake Up Woodward, and we appreciate you guys for choosing to kick off the day with the Woo crew.
Woo, woo.
We got the starting five in the building, plus a sixth man. What up, though? To the vet of the squad, Mr. Flannel Sam.
Hey, I still got some lumps on me from the L that I took in that debate yesterday. It's funny, and I just want to, yeah, shout out to Chauncey Billups, who's going into this Hall of Fame class.
Yeah, y'all gotta know it's not Reggie Jackson.
And deservedly so. But yeah, no, after the show, I kind of had this feeling of like, I don't know. I wasn't happy with how the debate went, but it was more because of how I performed. And I think one of my sins when it comes to that is when I was talking about the 2017 Warriors and kind of hyping them up, I don't think anybody had a problem with it. We were all kind of kumbaya and whatnot. Yeah. But my mistake was diminishing the 04 Pistons title run. That's not at all what I was intending to do. What I was intending to do was, I don't like it when people use the correlation of the 04 Pistons beat Kobe and Shaq, so they're obviously going to beat KD, Steph, and Clay, but that's not what you were saying.
No.
And for the record, you can say that Kobe and Shaq were on their last legs, because as a duo, they most certainly were. But also early on in the playoffs, they beat the Spurs, a team that had beat them the year before, a team that was a year removed from Tim Duncan leading them to a championship and having one of the greatest finals runs ever. Check out 03 Tim Duncan. That finals run was every bit as good as like prime MJ, prime LeBron type of finals runs.
Yeah,
and here's the thing. Kobe and Shaq, were they a perfect fit? Were they in their prime as a duo in 04? No. But Shaq, the very next year, would finish second in MVP. He was on the tail end of his career, but the next year he was second in MVP, and we obviously know what Kobe would do, winning 2 championships later on in his career with Gasol as the clear number 1 and winning an MVP in 08. One of the biggest reasons why the Lakers lost that finals, even though they were broken in some ways, was the Pistons put them in a body bag. Put the final nail in that coffin.
Go.
I still think the 17 Warriors would win. However, you don't need to hear another person diminishing the 04 Pistons run who actually works for Detroit sports. And that's where I think I failed and we all got off on the wrong foot. Sometimes you lose debates, sometimes you win debates. Kool-Aid, you beat me yesterday. I'm taking the L fair and square on the chin.
Listen, bro. You are a great man. And, I appreciate even more so looking to make sure that the 2004 Detroit Pistons are in no way diminished.
Yeah.
Because it is a great debate. When we actually talk about those two teams, I think it's awesome that the 2004 Detroit Pistons have found a way to kind of etch their place in history.
Sure.
Not just a champion, but I mean one of those ones that you got to bring up in every single debate.
Yep.
And it's a pretty cool thing as Pistons fans, and it's like, wow, how do we get within a sniff of that again?
I can't wait to ask this to Rod Beer. Ask this question to Rod. Like, I want to hear his perspective on that team versus the 17 or the 17 Warriors. Also, that Duncan run the year before, was that the one where he hit that 3-pointer like at the top of the key? Did he bank it in?
I'm not entirely sure, but I know that his numbers in that playoff run, he averaged 25, 15, 5 assists, 3 blocks on 53% shooting. He was a monster. He was a monster in that finals run. And that's why one of the reasons why people hold Tim Duncan in such esteem, because at his absolute peak, there was nobody who played the power forward position better than him.
As the Pistons are probably that 04 Pistons, to me, one of the most underrated champions. I believe Tim Duncan, maybe along with Isaiah Thomas, some of the more underrated champions.
Absolutely.
As it relates to individual
100%,
players.
100%. Yep.
Boo them kids in the chat says 04 Pistons goated. And yes, that's his or her name in the chat.
With a name like that, I highly value the opinion.
Yeah.
I do.
Yeah, with the D too. Got the D in there.
Damn right.
Look what you started, KG.
Hey man, I can't. Hey, it took on a life of its own. What can I say?
Hey, what up, though? Detroit's #1 draft pick. He said he's on the way for MVP. We were talking about this before the show a little bit. I think JB is more the LeBron style MVP at this stage, and we got KG, who's more like the SGA on his way to MVP.
Hey, I'll take it, man.
Black Hollywood.
SGA is an absolute dog.
Yeah.
And since we speaking of Pistons, man, they hiring people, and I don't get the news from ESPN. I don't get it from any Pistons accounts. I got to get it off X. What's going on with the damn Pistons, man?
I don't know. I'm still waiting for that email to say, hey, press conference is this time, so we can get in there and start to ask these questions. I assume, and this was my assumption from the beginning, that they're going to allow him to kind of fill out the rest of the positions within his front office and then be able to hold a more informed.
Yeah.
You know, once you got things in place, you can actually answer the right questions. If you don't have the rest of your staff together, you know, some of those questions can become moot or change by the time you actually start to get the rest of those people in there. So I honestly want them to be able to complete your front office and then come to the table and be able to have a discussion with us about where you guys are going to go and what people are going to be doing what things specifically.
Okay. I'll take your word for it. And everybody dropping happy birthdays, y'all. A day too soon. Birthday is tomorrow, but I appreciate all the birthday love. And thank y'all. Let's get it, man. Let's get it.
Hey, Phil, if the Pistons need it, I would definitely do that role for the Pistons.
Yes.
He says Pistons need a good public relations leader.
Yes.
Yeah, but you know what? But no. Shout out honestly to their PR team. I don't want that to go unnoticed. The Pistons PR room honestly is one of the best ones in the league. And if whatever they're doing is going to be for a reason. But shout out to those guys as well. I could name all of them, but I'll just say shout out to Pistons PR, man. They're honestly really, really good people. They hold that room tight. They really, really protect their players and have great relationships with the media that's in that room. You ask anybody that's within that Pistons media room, you'll get good things back from them.
Shout out.
Definitely. But you know what? Shout out to Woodward Sports' MVP in the TD booth. That is JBSMOOOOOOV.
Yeah.
Hey, what up, fellas?
Okay.
What's going on? Hey, I'm waiting on that email to have you as the new head of basketball, president, operations, head coach, you know,
GM,
assistant
maybe.
GM, whatever you need, you know.
President.
Hey, bro, I'll be out there waving the towel if they want me to, bro. Team player. Let's rock.
See, team player. That's all we need. We need you out there. Public relations, whatever you got to do. And yeah, the happy birthdays are going crazy in the chat, KJ. You know it's today early, but
Hey, I appreciate it.
hey, you got to celebrate it all week long.
You
Come
damn
on now.
right.
I like that shirt
Gemini
too, JB.
season, man.
See, Gemini season.
You damn right.
Gemini stick together. See what I'm talking about? Well, we're pissing. Shout out.
Gemini booth.
Shout out.
Yeah.
It's almost your birthday in Australia, where Chef Talks Lions is from.
That is true.
You know, he's going to go to sleep here in a few minutes and wake up, and it's going to be your birthday before it is here.
Yeah. I'm not looking forward to it. 32, man. I'm that step closer to 40. So
32, Rip Hamilton. Speaking of, Mike G asked Flannel, can we get a yes, sir?
Yes, sir.
yes, sir.
And
Yes,
we have
sir.
another one from Mike G. Can we get Sam to say Phillips?
Phillips.
Hey,
Let's go.
I actually liked hearing that more than I thought I would. But you know what? Shout out to Matthew Broder as well.
Thank you.
Always doing great work, brother. Our credentialed Tigers and Lions reporter and writer.
It's a big time.
Yes, sir.
Tigers. How about this? Two games in a row from Texas. About to win a series tonight. Lions, day 2 of mandatory minicamp. And things are heating up. Things are
so
heating up. We got
happy, bro.
We got NBA draft coming up this month. We got the NHL draft coming up soon. This is going to be great. MLB draft. I'm going to be with Raj and Chris Brown and Yoop on their draft show July 14th.
Nice.
Shout out.
So we got a lot. It's the summer. It's the spring, but we got a lot to talk about.
Let's
Yeah, we
go.
do.
Shout out
Yes.
to our 6th man as well. Justin is that dude, Justin, in the building. Hey, made some good impressions yesterday. We had some meetings. Shout out to you, brother. Continue to do work.
Thank you. Shout out, woo, woo, woo.
Let's go. Let's go.
Woo-woo.
Mr. Broder, you want to tell the people what we're going to be talking about today?
I would love to. We're talking Tigers here coming up in the next segment. Got a few clips from Lions, the media clips the press time, the media time with the players and Dan Campbell yesterday to talk about before we welcome the legend Rod Beard on at 8:45 to go around the world of sports here in Detroit. At 9 o'clock, we're going to be talking Pistons with him. There's a lot going on in that Pistons organization. You just scratched the surface there in the first segment here. I'm so excited to hear his opinion on so many things, some of these moves, After that, we're going to get back into a little more Lions discussion at 9:15 to take us to what's trending with JB Smooth. It's going to be a fun show. But we got to start out. It's Wednesday, so we're going to do the Wednesday weave, the 3-man weave. Instead of layup lines this morning, I'm just going to throw a question at you guys.
Let's go.
Something that's been talked about a lot on social now because of former Ohio State quarterback, Texans quarterback, who we all believe is about to have another monster year, solidify himself as one of the top quarterbacks in the NFL, had some words to say about our former Lions quarterback, a former Packers quarterback, current Jets quarterback, C.J. Stroud. I want to play this clip for you guys before we start talking about it, but he had some words to say about if Matthew Stafford switched places with Aaron Rodgers or was in Green Bay during the time Aaron Rodgers was, he'd have a few more rings than Aaron Rodgers.
Stafford another one, bro. He might be up there with Brady and them, bro.
No, come on.
No,
bro.
that's crazy. That's crazy. That's crazy. Let me go back. Hey, because look, look, hold on. Before you go, I'm a student of the game.
Yeah,
Stickers for flip.
He is a dog. No, you don't understand, bro. You saying that.
JB, come back to me after this. I'm going to send it to Sam.
I watch Mahomes at times because Mahomes does some stuff that you can't coach. Stafford, dog, he will beat you with the same thing every time. All that no-lick stuff, I got that from bruh. Literally, that's one of my big, I'm a fan of his, If
he's
I go to
a
LA,
great quarterback.
I be trying to find, bro.
But
We
it's
got the same
levels of
trainers. I be trying to, go to where they working out and just watch.
That's all I'm
He
saying.
elite, dog.
Like Charles Barkley.
Hold on. If you give Matthew Stafford a chance like Aaron Rodgers, I guarantee he might have had more rings, for sure. I think Matthew Stafford.
Matthew Stafford had more rings than Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, he have another ring probably.
I'd say he had 3-4.
He might. It's possible.
Bro.
He good.
When
But
you
what
talking
I'm
about
saying is
tough
it's
as
levels
nails,
of greatness. You got this.
I can't even lie, bro. C.J. Stroud sounds like me when I was younger trying to defend Matthew Stafford to all my friends.
Seriously.
Real quick, shout out to Young Ray 23, Sauce Ray. That's where the clip came from. It originated. I think that's his podcast. What do you think about those words, Flannel? I'm going to start with you. Matthew Stafford in Green Bay.
All right, so I did a little bit of an experiment because when we're talking about Aaron Rodgers in Green Bay, I think we can all agree that for his time there, you couldn't have asked for a better regular season quarterback. 4 MVPs, 8 division titles, all those numbers, some of the best numbers you'll ever see from a quarterback. The thing, though, is playoffs. The Packers didn't exactly get as many Super Bowls as maybe you would have thought. However, and this is something that a lot of people overlook, Aaron Rodgers has put up very, very good playoff numbers. He's actually tied for second all-time in playoff touchdown passes with Joe Montana, obviously behind Tom Brady, and he has 8 less career playoff interceptions than Joe Montana, and he has a playoff passer rating over 100. He actually has a worse playoff passer rating than Matt Stafford, by the way, which is kind of ironic. So what I decided to do was, because it's an imperfect thing, you can never exactly get it right, I put the situations that Aaron Rodgers had, his playoff situations, and just kind of looked at them. His first ever playoff run, it was in 2009. They lost to the Arizona Cardinals. The Cardinals scored 51. The Packers took it to overtime while scoring 45. I don't think that's something that Matthew Stafford is overcoming that Aaron Rodgers could not. 2010, Aaron Rodgers leads the Packers to a Super Bowl by having a 9-touchdown, 2-interception playoff run, and all of the wins were on the road, although the defense actually performed in that playoffs. 2011, the Giants scored 37. Again, did Rodgers play great in that game? No, but that's a lot to overcome. I don't think Stafford would have and Aaron Rodgers would not have. In 2012, the 49ers scored 45. That's a lot to overcome. I don't think it's something that Aaron Rodgers couldn't, but Stafford could. 2013 was the interesting one because in 2013, the Packers lost to the 49ers 23-20. And Aaron Rodgers, while not terrible, he could have certainly been better. However, if Stafford is on that team and they win, do you know who they would have to play in the NFC Championship game? At Seattle, at peak apex Legion of Boom, that fucked Peyton Manning up. That fucked up maybe the greatest offense in NFL history.
Yeah.
In 2014, again, this was one where Rodgers did not play well. That was the one where they were at Seattle in the NFC Championship game, and Seattle had that crazy comeback. However, that also included a very fluky play in which the Seattle Seahawks recovered an onside kick that was dropped by Brandon Bostic with nobody around him. Would Stafford have motivated Bostic to catch that ball from the sidelines? I don't necessarily know. 2015, and I promise I'll wrap this up in a second. 2015, that was the season, that was the playoff run where Rodgers had that miracle drive at the end to send it to overtime that included a 4th and 20 scramble and throw to Jeff Janis, and then that Hail Mary. That was the year, though, where the Packers didn't have a ton of weapons. The two leading receivers in that playoff loss were Jeff Janis and former Lion Jared Abbrederis. That was kind of Rodgers' miracle working just to get them to the point where they would eventually lose in overtime, partially because they lost the coin toss. 2016, the defense gives up 44. Did Rodgers play great in that game? Not necessarily, but that's not something I think that Stafford would have overcome that Aaron Rodgers would not have. They missed the playoffs the next couple of years. In 2019, the Packers defense gives up 37 to the 49ers, including 285 rushing yards, which, again, that's not something that I think Stafford would have overcome, but Rodgers could not. In 2020, that's another interesting one. The defense did give up 31. Aaron Rodgers was sacked 5 times, and Aaron Jones had a very costly fumble that set the Buccaneers up with like a 4-yard touchdown drive. And, of course, the Buccaneers got that fluky play to Scotty Miller. That was one where Rodgers played well, and I think Matt LaFleur kind of fumbled. Remember when they were down 8 and they decided to go for the field goal and never got the ball back, didn't go for it? That's one where it's like maybe it could have been a little bit different. And then in 2021, that was just an obvious Aaron Rodgers choke job. They allowed the 49ers to win in a game in which Jimmy Garoppolo led his offense to a grand total of 6 points. My point is that I don't think most of the Packers' playoff losses were 100% on Aaron Rodgers or even mostly his fault. Were there a couple of overperformances where Stafford might have made a difference? Maybe, I don't know. But I'll give you one stat before we move on. Because each of them obviously had a great playoff run, one great Super Bowl run. I told you about all of those times where the Packers defenses were giving up, 45, 51, 37. In the 2010 Super Bowl run where they actually won, the defense gave up an average of 19 per game. In the 2021 Super Bowl run that Stafford won for the Rams, the defense gave up 19 points per game. It's easier to overcome the defense actually showing up versus giving up 45. So my point is that I think Stafford would have, if he were playing in that situation with that Aaron Rodgers had, would have won 1 or 0, not 3 or 4. And that's just my opinion. This is an imperfect science, but I think that's the best we got.
That's what I'm talking about. That's using the stat. I love what you just did there, Flannel. I was just thinking about it all at a high level. I wonder what Stafford and his big arm would do in that situation. No, but you broke it down. I'm gonna say Ed O'Neill, I'm saving your super chat for later, but Dante sort of added to this. Thanks for the donation, Dante. He says, hey KG, happy your 32nd birthday.
Thank you.
Tomorrow. Trust me, you get used to being 32 years old. Also, Rodgers has a better playoff record than Stafford. Just kind of adding to the conversation there, but I appreciate you breaking that down.
Yeah, no, I thank you guys for giving me the platform to do so, because I couldn't be brief about that one. I was in the lab making a deep dive last night, so shout out to you guys for being accommodating.
Hey, the vet of the squad, man. The most prepared guy on the network.
Facts.
Big facts.
Hey, you guys are just as prepared. My point is that nobody is more prepared, Chef.
Look, man, our interactions with the Chat family are always the best. And I can tell you else about something that is the best. That is Premier Pet Supply, and it's hands down Michigan's best pet store. They offer the same prices and the conveniences of the big box and online retailers. One major difference: they've been locally and family owned for over 30 plus years. They also offer over 60 brands of food and have nutrition experts to help you. Same day, local curbside and home delivery. Premier Pet Supply. Give your pet the best at www.premierpetsupply.com.
Come to any Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men and claim your throne for a king's treatment from one of our talented stylists. Open 7 days a week, walk in anytime. Just get to a Lady Jane's today and receive a precision haircut, scalp massage, hot lather neck shave, and a hot towel treatment. A haircut should not be a chore. It should be an experience. And that's exactly what Lady Jane's has to offer. Open 7 days a week, walk-ins are always welcome. There's always a location near you. Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men, it's wicked awesome.
I love Love Woodward Sports? Love wearing clothes? Then you should be wearing Woodward Sports clothes. Check out our full line of merch at woodwardsports.com. Just click on Shop. We have all your favorite designs, like Dan Campbell kneecaps, Woodward Golf, and of course, our own logoed out merchandise. Men, women, infants, kids all love Woodward Sports. Impress your friends. Impress your boss. Impress your dog. Buy Woodward Sports merch today.
Braylon Edwards here, Premier Pet Supply. Man, just looking around, who's got it better than pets? Come on, a baby stroller for Coda? A chef for Lola, really? You don't have to tell me who the real boss here is. Who's got it better than pets? Nobody, especially here at Premier Pet Supply. For over 30 years and more than 13 locations, Premier Pet Supply has everything that your pet can dream of, and guess what? It's all under one roof. Premier Pet Supply, family owned, operated, and proud to call Metro Detroit home. Check out premierpetsupply.com or scan the QR code today. Who's got it better than pets? Nobody!
What happens when you run a great business for over 50 years? You expand and offer more products to more people. This is exactly what Les Stanford did by adding Les Stanford Buick GMC, the same great service that customers have come to know and trust. On Woodward Avenue, just south of 9 Mile. Check out Les Stanford in Dearborn today at lesstanford.com. Les Stanford Chevrolet. Together, let's drive.
Let's drive right down Woodward Avenue, the legendary Woodward Avenue. All 4 sports teams on the same block. The only sports city in America like that.
Yeah.
It's awesome. And we need to get these teams winning again so we can actually experience walking from one to the other. That would be so epic, man.
Isn't it hilarious how just like transport us into 1997, you had a team in Pontiac, you had a team in Auburn Hills, right. You had a team on the riverfront, and then you had a team in Corktown.
Yeah, wow.
And it's amazing to think just how much things have transformed in a relatively short period of time.
Yeah, yeah. And the Detroit Tigers, you talking about transforming things in a relatively short period of time. We were just burying them maybe a couple weeks ago.
Well,
now they've climbed one game over 500, 31-30, after another dominant start by Jack Flaherty in a 3-1 win over the Texas Rangers. And, you know, no Javi Baez.
Yes.
Yeah.
Some Zach McKinstry.
Yeah.
And some good things. Shout out Shelby Miller, too.
Shout out Shelby Miller. And the funny thing is, I think we were all on the same wavelength, whether we were watching or following along. When Jack Flaherty was taken out after 5 after dominating and having 60 pitches, I was like, oh, God, what type of arm problems is he having? I read that it's just a back tightness, and he feels like he should be ready for the next start, which is all well and good. This is another one of those games, though, where baseball is just a funny, random game. Because who would have seen Zach McKinstry being the offensive hero? However, if you dig deep, because baseball is weird, Zach McKinstry, oddly enough, hits really well against Dane Dunning. Really? Because of course he does.
Historically.
Yeah. Now he's 7 for 13 all-time against Dane Dunning, which is the most random thing of all time.
Super money ball.
Yeah. I know, because Zach McKinstry, and this is not a knock, is probably the most irrelevant player on the Tigers. He's not as harmful as Javi Baez or Spencer Torkelson or what Parker Meadows was or what Colt Keith in April was or what Jake Rogers in April was, but he's not really helpful either. He's just a guy that gets a spot start every once in a while at shortstop. And he, of all people, was the offensive hero. He was the one that hit the 2-run home run. Although Riley Green, shout out, his 11th home run of the season, which ties his total from last year. That was huge as well. He's providing most of the slugging for this team and probably the majority of it moving forward now that Kerry Carpenter's out for a while. But yeah, Jack Flaherty was dominant again. They're one of maybe the top 1-2-3 punch of starters in the MLB. And also the bullpen's looking a little bit better. Shelby Miller coming back, pitching an inning and a third scoreless.
That's the best he's looked since he left this studio.
Absolutely. Maybe the hex that I put on him inadvertently has worn off, because we all know that what he can be. And that's kind of my point to it all. This bullpen was scuffling for a bit, But all of these guys have track records. Tyler Holton has a track record. Shelby Miller has a track record. Jason Foley, Will Vest. If you want to even include Andrew Chafin, they all have track records. It's conceivable that this bullpen will figure it out and be very, very good again. And they're showing it right now. And hell, if Bo Brisky pitches like he has, maybe he can get back to being a dominant bullpen again. And I think that is one of the pathways for the Tigers to end up making the wild card. Get back to being that dominant bullpen. But shout out to the Tigers. An 8-3 stretch in an 11-game period when it looked like their season was on the brink. I think that's called kind of saving your season. That may sound a little bit dramatic, but they were about to play themselves into irrelevancy, and they've turned it completely around. And they're going to win a series at Texas, and they're going to win a road trip that traveled to Boston and Texas. That ain't nothing to sneeze at, even if Texas isn't as good as we thought they were, and Boston as well.
Bro, you were so intrigued and bothered by Zach McKinstry that you had to deep dive for the stat to make it make sense. And I absolutely love it, man. Absolutely love it, man. That stat to kind of pull out what his record is against that pitcher, that's pretty brilliant.
Shout out AJ Hinch, though, because he obviously knew that. There's no way that he didn't. But Zach McKinstry, Zach McKinstry having those kind of numbers against any pitcher is just wild. But shout out. He rewarded the faith with the biggest swing of the game.
Yeah, and after those comments about Zach McKinstry, not only am I hoping AJ Hinch plays him for the next 7 games in a row because he's about to go off, but I'm not a betting man. But if you're a what's his name, Tucupito Marcano, if you want to bet some money on Major League Baseball, I would put some money on Zach McKinstry after that slander. I love it though, but it is so random. And what a call is AJ Hinch putting him in that spot. I didn't think about that. I didn't know about that before the game. I didn't know about that after the game. But he came out swinging too. His first 2 at bats, a triple and a 2-run home run. When you have a guy going like Flaherty, when you have pitchers going like Flaherty and Skubal and Reese Olson, sometimes all you need are those timely hits. It was ironic that you take Jake Rogers out after his 2 home run game, literally single-handedly beating them in game 1. You put in Carson Kelly, who doesn't do anything, but Zach McKinstry in for Javi Baez does. Baseball is a funny game. Yeah. And I know you've been more down on Riley Green lately, but that was a big home run out of him. Yeah, and 11 home runs that matches total from last year. That's big. That's big for Riley Green. Still has some things to put together to make sure that his swing is complete, that he gets his average up. But when you see that power staying alive,
yes, and
I'm a fan.
And for the record, before I throw it over to KG, I've never given up on Riley Green. No. I've always thought that he has a good future and is going to be a great player. He just, for the most part, for the month of May, he wasn't good. But he's turning it around as well. He's been on a bit of a hot streak. And if Riley Green can regain his all-star caliber form that he had at the beginning of the year, that's another thing that could work wonders for this team. KG,
yeah,
how are you feeling about the Tigers and last night's game?
I'm feeling good. All of these games are going to be ugly. It just seems like that's the Tigers' way. It's not going to be clean, but if they get the job done, that's all I really care about. Y'all touched on all the great points, except that it really should have been a shutout last night. That one run that they gave up kind of at the end was like, what the hell? But they get the job done, and you just look forward to what they can do going forward. Broder brought it up during the break. They got a rough stretch of games coming up against some really good teams. So let's just hope they continue to keep this momentum going. Them getting a sweep, though, in Texas against the World Series champions, hey, I'll take it. I don't care if they're down people or not. We'll absolutely take that.
Yeah, it's got to be a good punctuation, especially coming back. You know, being under 500 by a few games and now being able to go up a couple games because you just swept the Rangers, a team who, if you have a bad series, well, they're walking away from this thing 500 or better, and you guys are walking away under 500 instead of what we see right now. And it's interesting with these Tigers. I look at everything we said about them, and almost everything we talked about preseason has panned out except for the AL Central. Mm-hmm. Even when you look at the wild card race right now, it has an AL Central flavor to it with the Twins there, the Tigers right before them, and Kansas City Royals. This division is a tough one, but it seems like when I see the Tigers come up against some of these teams that I believe, this could be a struggle, that they actually put together some wins, like we see against the Rangers, like we saw them do against the Pirates and so forth. Mm-hmm. With the Tigers, what is the expectation now? They've been all over the place.
Yeah, I think the expectation is to, by any means necessary, get a wild card spot.
Yeah,
stay
alive.
I mean, the Guardians have been one of the best teams in baseball. Nobody would have thought that, but now that you've sent Torque down, now that you got Shelby Miller back, you brought up Bo Brisky in the bullpen, and the starting pitching for now has been not only great at the top 3, but very healthy. Just got to find a way to get into the wild card. And it's not like they have to be world beaters the rest of the season. Like I said, if they can finish the season between 7 and 10 games over 500, I think that they will get a spot. And oh, by the way, I know I'm getting a little too ahead of myself.
No.
In a 3-game wild card series,
I don't want to face the Tigers.
I don't either. I don't want to face them in a divisional series.
That pitching?
Yeah.
Come on.
That's the thing. If in the divisional series they can win one and then get to maybe Mize or Maeda or somebody, then you're getting a little bit vulnerable. But in a wild card series, it's a best of 3.
That's where you're going torque and you're handing it off to your best closer. That's when you're going. When you got starting pitching.
I gotta pause you. You said torque.
I'm sorry.
I just gotta put an end to that.
Tarek Skubal.
I've done that before.
Thank you.
Tarek
Skubal.
Yeah.
Thank you. And you know what? It's interesting too. When I look at this wild card race and I look at the teams just behind the Tigers, some interesting names here. Some recent names: the Boston Red Sox, Tampa Bay, and the Texans, and Texas Rangers. These are teams that they've largely matched up well with.
Well, and here's the thing. If you want to say that the division has been better than we thought, which it most undoubtedly has, I think a lot of us thought that Toronto would be better, Tampa Bay would be better, Texas would be better, Boston would be better.
The Blue Jays.
Maybe those are some teams that will, with their scuffling, will clear a path for the Tigers to get a wild card spot, even if their record is only like 5 to 7 games above 500. It's possible. They just get a wild card spot by any means necessary.
Xavier D said positive Sam.
Yes.
But seriously, can we all agree that we can be happy in the fact that the Tigers are at least seeming like they're going in the right direction? They haven't been over 500 in June and I don't know how long. So we're just happy at the progression that we're seeing. We just want them to keep it going, man. And speaking of Kenta Maeda, I think he's on the mound today. Please don't give up no extra run home runs, man. That's all I can ask for, man.
Man,
they got to go out and win series.
Yeah.
That's why you go up 2-3. We were talking sweep earlier. They still got to take care of it. But when you win the first 2 games of a series, especially against Texas, especially in the way that they did, if you can go steal a sweep, that bodes well as you move forward, because when you start winning series, you steal a sweep here and there, that's where your record really starts taking a jump. They got tough series coming up. You got the Brewers, you got the Braves, you got the Phillies, then you have the White Sox mixed in there, the Nationals mixed in there. That's why you got to take care of the good teams when you can. That's why it's so important for Tarek Skubal in game 1 of that series to take it six innings, and then Bo Brisky to go 3 to set up a night like last night where they could use 5 relievers. It's set up. This team is set up to be competitive with their pitching staff. It's just about these timely hits. And when you have Flaherty throwing like he's been lately, I know we'll be talking about Flaherty come trade deadline because he's on a 1-year contract. He's pitching his way into that Cy Young conversation, the Cy Young race. Not at the top yet, but he's pitching himself there. Like you said, you got Tarek Skubal, Reese Olson, Flaherty in a 3-game series. Flaherty in his last 4 games, 24 innings pitched, 5 earned runs, 31 Ks, 4 walks. The dude is a stud.
Yeah.
He's pitching really well. His curveball was on last night. Usually it's his slider. Yesterday it was his curveball. It was only 4 strikeouts, but he was getting ground balls. He was getting quick outs. It's been a lot of fun watching Flaherty develop his game, develop his pitch arsenal and his confidence. I didn't know he was going to be this good this fast in Detroit. Shoot, if I were him, depending on how the season's going, you trade him away. I would want to come back to Chris Fetter with a longer term deal to make sure I'm working under Fetter and Lund for as long as possible.
How much of a future is Chris Fetter creating for himself right now?
That's he will be a big league manager one day.
Yep.
Maybe sooner rather than later.
Yep. And I know we got a caller on the line. We'll take them in the next segment.
Yeah.
It's also had a question as well. Like, what percentage would you give of credit or blame to AJ Hinch for where the Detroit Tigers are right now?
Ooh, you know what? I think we should answer that after the break.
Yeah.
Yes. But that is a great teaser. But if you want to expand your mind a little bit before you answer that question, go to Dispo. Visit Dispo Dispensary today for deals too good to miss. Meet a team that curates an unbelievable atmosphere and shopping experience. Try the freshest inventory for Michigan's largest variety of products. Come through our stores or order on Dispo Dash today. Dispo Dispensary, DispoShops.com, your local cannabis plug.
What's up, everybody? Neil Rule, Big D Energy, Woodward Sports Network, home of the Planet Fitness Studios. Let me tell you a little personal story about myself with Planet Fitness. Planet Fitness helped me change my life, and it can do the same for you. The best gym in the gym game. The clean facilities, tons of cardio equipment, tons of weights as well. And look, through all the price increases, inflation, all that, hasn't happened at Planet Fitness. Still $1 down, $10 per month, $24.99 a month for the Black Card as well. It's Planet Fitness, everybody, where your fitness is essential.
A network for the city, by the city. Woodward Sports is Detroit Sports.
Come to any Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men and claim your throne for a king's treatment from one of our talented stylists. Open 7 days a week. Walk in anytime. Just get to a Lady Jane's today and receive a precision haircut, scalp massage, hot lather neck shave, and a hot towel treatment. A haircut should not be a chore. It should be an experience. And that's exactly what Lady Jane's has to offer. Open 7 days a week. Walk-ins are always welcome. There's always a location near you. Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men. It's wicked awesome.
Planet Fitness is home of the judgment-free zone where anyone, and we mean anyone, can feel comfortable and work on their fitness goals. At Planet Fitness, you'll experience a squeaky clean gym that has tons of equipment, a full-body workout in just 30 minutes, and all memberships include fitness training. You get all of this for only $10 a month, no commitment. No matter where you are, there's a Planet Fitness close by. There are more than 50 in Metro Detroit and thousands more throughout the world. It's Planet Fitness, where your fitness is essential.
Essential. Welcome back to Wake Up Woodward. We appreciate you guys for choosing to kick off today with the Woo Crew. We got the entire starting five plus the sixth man in the building. The sun is shining. We got Detroit Lions. We got Rod Beard. We got Woodward Pistons. We got a lot left to talk about, but right now we're still talking Tigers. And I know we got a call on the line, right?
Yes, we do. We got Matt Kruger on the line. Now, I believe he wants to talk Tigers. Matt, you on Wake Up Woodward, bro?
Hey, we're becoming a regular caller, Mr. Kruger.
Yo, what's up, man? We gotta stay positive today. Gotta stay positive today because we got the day off. It's a beautiful day.
Yes, sir.
Hey, all right.
I'll say one negative thing real quick, and then we'll jump into Tigers. I've been taking down my stats to Flannel, and I write down 3 big L's, one between you and Lindsey Hunter, one between you and Kool-Aid, and one between you and D-Mac. But we're going to move on to the Tigers. That gets that out real quick.
You can't go undefeated in debates, man. I'll just say that. I have taken my L's, though, yes.
I hear you, bro. I hear you, man. I love you still. You're just wrong on a lot of shit. That's all. Anyway, what do the Detroit Tigers have to do to turn it around at home and have a winning record? Like, doesn't it seem strange that we're 14-15 this year? We had a losing record at home last year. Mm-hmm. Is it AJ Hinch becoming more acclimated in Detroit because he was in Houston so long? Is that the deal? Why he's so good on the road and we're so bad at home? I just wanted to get you guys take on that, and I'm still running with fuck the ticket, make the bet, and go. Woodward Sports, baby.
Let's go, baby. Let's go.
Hey,
Crew. Great call, Matthew Kruger, man. Shout out. And, it's kind of a perfect segue because that was the question beforehand is, what is what role do you believe AJ Hinch has played in what the Tigers have been this season? The percentages, even if you ever break down, because starting pitching obviously is going to get a lot of credit.
Yeah, all right. So I think AJ Hinch overall has been a net positive. I know we point back at the beginning of the season and look at the way that at the end of games he was using matchups instead of the traditional bullpen roles of setup man, like long reliever, setup man, closer. You'd have like Andrew Chafin starting innings against lefties. You'd have Tyler Holton starting innings against lefties and Jason Foley finishing them. And it usually worked. And there were a few instances where he's had some very timely pinch hit decisions. Particularly, I remember a couple with Andy Ibanez that worked like a charm. So he has done a good job. I mean, even the last couple of days, if you look at the bullpen, in the previous game, you had Tarek Skubal pitch 6, and then you had Bo Brisky pitch all 3 innings to close it out, and he did it unblemished. You look at last night. They didn't start the 9th inning with Jason Foley. They had Tyler Holton out there, and then they had Jason Foley finish it. And most of the time that has worked, even though there was a big stretch where the bullpen was struggling. My thing is that during that bad stretch, there were still some very, very puzzling lineup combinations where you'd have Kerry Carpenter out for some reason, or you'd have like Parker Meadows in for whatever reason. I think, and a lot of people might not like this because some people see AJ Hinch as baseball Jesus. He has been, they did kind of the Moneyball thing. You can't play Torque today. Why can't I play Torque today? Because he's in Toledo now. You can't play Parker Meadows today. Why not? Because he's in Toledo now. And every single day, I don't care if you're handcuffed or not, even though yesterday Zach McKinstry played and it worked, you still see Javi Baez out there every single day. So to me, the good has outweighed the bad, but AJ Hinch is not infallible. I think he needs to do a better job of playing the best hitters every single day. I think he sometimes overmanages. That's just my opinion, although overall, more good than bad.
Yeah, I hear what you're saying. I'm with you. Definitely a net positive. I don't know if I would call him baseball Jesus, but maybe he's a disciple.
I'm not saying you. I'm saying Neil Rule's the biggest example. But go ahead.
I'm probably closer to Neil than I am with you on that.
Fair.
I think due to the lineup, due to the players struggling, the hitters specifically struggling, especially to kick off the season. I think what AJ Hinch has done, he has overmanaged some games, but I think he's had to overmanage the season. He's had to try to make these moves to scrape together some wins. Like we've seen a lot of 2-1 wins, a lot of 1-0, 3-2, 4-3 wins where sometimes you just can't, as much as we want to see certain players stay in there and get their at-bats at the end of the game, he sees something or there's some plan with the AAA guys that he's making the decisions for a reason, whether right or wrong. I think he's had to manufacture some of these. Why they're not as strong at home, I still haven't figured that one out. I don't know if it's a comfortability of the guys just being at home. There's more distractions at home than you're on the road with your boys. It's a young team. You're staying in hotels, and all you're focused on is baseball, not your friends and family and girlfriends and whatnot. I don't know, but I am optimistic for the rest of the season. There's a lot still to be played. The fact that Shelby Miller's back in that bullpen, I think, changes things a ton. One pitcher can do a ton at the back end of that bullpen, especially pitching like he did last night, where I think it was 1.1 innings pitched, 3 strikeouts, splitter was nasty, slider was nasty, his velocity was good. I was really worried when he was sent down rehabbing for an ulnar soreness, ulnar tightness. Like that has UCL written all over it, especially a pitcher who throws a splitter. But he looks good. You don't usually just come right back and look this good if you're truly dealing with something that is about to pop. Knock on wood. Big time.
Yeah. Knock on wood 100%. And I see what you mean. And I think Rack kind of echoes your sentiments to some degree. But I kind of disagree with this statement. He's also trying to make chicken salad with chicken shit. So there have been times where it seems like no matter who you put out there, they're not going to hit. That's 100% true. When you have a lineup that's as inconsistent with as many young players, that's going to happen. And that's not AJ Hinch's fault. There were too many times during that stretch, I'll use Kerry Carpenter again, where you look at the lineup and it's like, Carpenter's not in there. Why is Mark Canna out? Stuff like that where I'm just like, I don't know. Why is Riley Green out? I know giving him some strategic days off when he was struggling, that's not the worst thing in the world. But, I just think that I think higher of a lot of players than some other people do. I mean, another example, you'd see times where it's like, why is Winseal Perez not playing? Why is Torque out there every day? Why is Colt Keith out there every single day? He's kind of righted the ship a little bit, but still, there was a time where it's like, I don't know. There'd be times where you'd start a Colt Keith, and then when they went to the bullpen, you'd see someone like Andy Ibanez pinch hit and take the last couple of at-bats. My point is that sometimes you got to give players days off. I understand that. But I think there were times when they were struggling where AJ Hinch didn't put the best lineup out there. Has he done more good than bad? Absolutely. But he's not perfect. He's not completely infallible.
Yes.
That's my point.
I'm hoping that he knows this division, man, because it seems like the wild card is going to come down to one of these AL Central teams, maybe even 2 of them. It's looking good, man, for the Tigers. I expected them to be competitive all season, but kind of seeing everything they went through, seeing that there was a point in the season where I thought, you know what, the wheels could really fall off right now. And to see the resilience, to see that AJ Hinch is still managing to try and put this team in a position to have a wild card spot, to be in that type of a chase or that race, these Detroit Tigers, with all of the woes that they do have, honestly, this is exciting.
Yeah.
It's exciting.
It's 100% exciting. And to add to that excitement, Chuck Brewer, you're 100% right. There were no better options. And Broder, I saw you echo that in the chat, and we can shake hands on that 100%. We are lucky that he was kind of able to fall to the Tigers.
Yes.
I don't like when people just completely absolve AJ Hinch of everything like he's perfect.
Yeah.
There have been some things that I don't agree with, but a lot that I have agreed with as well. And I do think that he's one of the top managers in the game. He has a track record. And like I said, at the beginning of the year, I thought he was one of the more important reasons why they were winning some games. And some of those stretches where I disagreed with his lineups, that doesn't take away from that.
I think those first 6 or 7 games, I think he was perfect. He
right,
definitely,
I agree.
It was bizarre how many games he manufactured a win for that team. Since then, it hasn't
without
been.
any bunting.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. So it's been fun to turn around, not to crush expectations or this optimism, because you guys know I'm still optimistic, but this offense still has things to figure out. We're talking a 2-1 win and a 3-1 win. Nothing's truly changed about this team from 2 weeks ago. They just managed to scrape together a couple wins, which they can do. Can they do it consistently, though? Can they go win series? 2 out of 3, 3 out of 4? You got to.
I mean, and I know we got to get to Rod Beard, but I just want to put this out there. I know it's a lot to put on one unit, because usually they're not the problem, although they kind of were during a little stretch. The bullpen, it has to be dominant.
Yeah.
I know that it's a lot to put on a unit, because most of the ires should go at the offense, especially if they continue to score 2 or 3 runs in games, because that's not going to consistently get it done. But sometimes your best players, your best unit has to step up and even play a little bit above themselves, which they were doing at the beginning of the season, because even on paper, this is a good bullpen, and a lot of those guys, like Tyler Holton, like Shelby Miller, like Andrew Chafin, were underperforming and still are by the numbers what they had previously done. If they can get back to what they truly are, this is a team that can very much make a wild card spot.
Yeah, it's unfair that so much is going to be placed on the pitching and the bullpen in particular, but it's needed, and I believe we have the type of pitchers to get it done.
I agree, 100%.
But you know what? I appreciate you guys for staying tapped in with Wake Up Woodward. We do got the legend Rod Beard on the way for a couple segments from the Detroit News. He is the sports editor-in-chief. It's a good time every time, man. Just like Monday through Friday, 8 a.m. to 10 a.m. when you're tapped in with the Wake Up Woodward crew. Chat family, you guys are the most important part of that, and we appreciate you greatly for what you do for us. But after Wake Up Woodward, I hope you guys are staying tapped in with the rest of Woodward Sports Network, starting with Big D Energy from 11 to 1. Hosted by 4-time Stanley Cup champion Darren McCarty alongside his co-host Neil Rule, the Golden Voice. After that, you got Armani and Edwards with Maz, the lovable radio legend that is Tom Mazaway, alongside former NFL wide receiver and U of M legend Braylon Edwards, and Detroit media king Ryan Armani. And after that, you got the Woodward heavyweights from 5 to 7 p.m. The big fellas, Spencer Raxter, that's Spinmo Rax, and Easy Baby. They're bringing you guys the biggest interviews, the biggest breakdowns, the biggest laughs. But most importantly, you guys, again, we appreciate you for making Woodward Sports the #1 digital sports network. Thank you, guys.
Yo, let me just say, I love Planet Fitness.
Trying out Planet Fitness, and dang, they got lots of equipment.
Not me getting a Planet Fitness membership just for the 24-hour perk.
Listen, the PF Black Card is worth every penny for this hydro massage. I'm a new man.
Did y'all know that the PF app has workouts you can do at home? Cheapest therapy I can find is Planet Fitness.
All the benefits, all for less. Planet Fitness, big fitness energy for all.
Game is won in the trenches, and our big fellas don't mess around. The Woodward Heavyweights on Woodward Sports.
Stop searching for a vehicle and start finding one. Les Stanford Chevrolet Cadillac makes it easy. We harness the power of multiple dealerships and own the biggest selection of GM brands in the area to get you the car you need. With the Les Stanford Group, you'll have access to 4 different dealerships, providing you with more makes, more models, and more choices. We're connected to more than 1,000 vehicles, and with so many high-quality CPO vehicles available, you'll find new car quality at pre-owned prices. You can start and end your search at lesstanford.com today.
You smell that? That's Brad Holmes cooking, and the off-season smells good. Woodward Sports.
Dealing with divorce, child custody, visitation, or other family law issues, Kevin and Catherine at KDK Law in Birmingham will have your back. 10 plus years of experience and 24/7 availability. Scan the QR code on the screen or call 248-971-0476. Say Woodward Sports sent you and KDK will pay your filing fee. KDK Law, they've got your back.
Don't let her do you wrong.
Don't let her do you wrong.
Absolutely.
Shout out to Black Hollywood. That is Detroit's #1 draft pick, KG, in the sound booth. And we got Woodward Sports MVP in the TD booth. That's JBSMOOOOOV. Matthew Broder in the building. That's our credential Tigers and Lions reporter. We got the 6-man Justin. That dude, Justin. And on the desk, the vet of the squad, Flannel Sam, and your boy, Brandon, the AK Detroit Kool-Aid. But we got somebody greater than us, you guys. We got sports editor-in-chief of the Detroit News, the legend, Rod Beard. Welcome to the show, brother. Welcome.
Oh, greater than you guys. Not always. Sometimes maybe, but not always.
Hey, look, man, we missed you, bro. So definitely welcome back to the platform.
No, good to be back. It's been a week. It's been a whole week.
It's been a week, man. Hey, but listen, we were talking about these Detroit Tigers. We were talking about AJ Hinch. And obviously their chances with the wild card. It's the AL Central flavor right now in this wild card race. What's the word of Detroit News on these Detroit Tigers?
You just got to get through June and July. Make it through the summer. And we talked about this, that you just need to be in contention. You need to hover around 500. And they had that little dip, but now they're starting to get out of that. But that's where we are, is just hold on. Don't be out of the race. Don't be the White Sox this early in the year. and you have a shot at it.
Yeah, and Rod, about kind of piggybacking off the Detroit Tigers, do you think that this starting pitching with Tarek Skubal, Reese Olson, and Jack Flaherty forming arguably the best 1-2-3 punch in all of baseball, do you think it's something that's sustainable and the Tigers can make a playoff spot primarily off the backs of their starting pitching?
They'll have to, because the hitting just is very hot and cold. And we know how baseball is. Pitching really gets hot and cold too. That your bats are supposed to warm up when the weather warms up. Well, it's hot. We're getting 80 degrees every day. The bats need to kind of be there. But at the same time, you're pitching these.
Oh, we lost him.
No.
I think he's going to pop back up in any second now. 3.
Yeah, he was preaching.
2. There we go.
Hey, there we go.
Yeah. No, and your pitching just has to hold out long enough for your bats to catch up to it. And the pitching has done that so far. So, that's the thing. Just stay in the race as long as you can and don't be out of it when the calendar turns to July and August, and you'll be okay.
Hey, Rye, and I don't think we talked to you since Spencer Tork got sent down. What are your thoughts on Torkelson being sent down to AAA, and do you have a timeline for him to return to the team?
Yeah, it might just be for a little spell here. I'm not going to say it's going to be for a month or a couple of weeks or anything like that. It might just be until he gets tuned up. And we've seen this in the past where people have been in hitting slumps, and you just need some time just to slow it down, to get into a different environment and see something different. And then you come back and you're doing well. And that's always been I'm glad to see it, that all parties kind of agree to it, because we've seen it in the past where players have said, no, I'm not going down to AAA and do anything. That's an embarrassment. That's a slight on me. But you have to realize, for the greater good and for the longer term impact, you need to do what you need to do to help the team be better. And especially, we're just talking about bats. If he's going to be one of your electric power bats, he's got to be that. And whatever needs to go down there and be tweaked or worked on a little bit, he's got to do that.
Rod, I wanted to get your thoughts on this, and this is Lions related. Ben Johnson, he spoke to the media a little while ago, and he basically was very candid about why he stayed, and just that there's a very real reality that if he would have went to a bad situation and been a head coach, he might have got fired in a couple of years, even if he was a good coach, because a situation like, say, Carolina, for example, is not salvageable. I thought personally that was one of the most candid I've ever seen a coach actually be in a press conference. What are your thoughts on that?
No, it's refreshing to see, because most people go chasing the money. And it seems in this case, at least, he's chasing the title. It's not about his ego and he won a Super Bowl as the head coach, or he did this. This is about, we have something that can be very special. Let's try to take advantage of this while we can. And they understand what it would mean for the Lions. A, what it meant to get to the NFC Championship, but B, what it would mean to get to a Super Bowl. Not even win it. Winning is just, nobody knows what that would even look like if the Lions won a Super Bowl. Getting to a Super Bowl would be something that's just insane. I mean, that's a World Series and an NBA Finals and everything wrapped into one because of the drought that we've had in this city. And they understand that there's something special here. And this isn't some stacked, loaded deck where you've got all of these Hall of Famers here. This is a small thing that has a little window. But again, you look at the offseason, they were able to lock up all of these key pieces to this. I think it just says he believes in what they're doing. He believes in Dan Campbell. It's not this ego-driven decision that says, I'm better than this. It's my time to shine. This is, I understand my role. I'm an offensive coordinator, and I'm a very good offensive coordinator. We have the pieces here, and I think we can win something. That says everything about what Sheila Ford Hamp has done, what Brad Holmes has done, and what Dan Campbell has done. That you have a guy who has a bigger opportunity and decides to stick around.
I was going to piggyback off that Dan Campbell comment, because to me, that shows a lot about Dan Campbell as a leader, that Ben Johnson trusts that Dan Campbell is going to kind of let him do his job, and that just organizationally from the top down, that this is something that Ben Johnson would rather be a part of than go toil away in a losing situation, even if he did have the opportunity to be head coach and El Capitano.
Right. And there's different responsibility when you're a head coach and you're running the whole operation. You've got press conferences every day. You're doing blah. It's so much stuff going on. Sometimes it's okay to be in your comfortable role where you can be excellent, instead of, as you said, going somewhere and maybe being mediocre and just being another head coach that's there. It's special. There are only a handful of head coaches in the NFL, but to be the captain of your offense, to let somebody else run that, and to try to take that next step, I think just speaks volumes about what this organization has done, because before you just wouldn't have seen that.
Yeah, and a big topic of discussion with the Lions has been the post-June 1st cap space that they have. I think they have around $40 million. Of course, $10 million of that still in question because of the Cam Sutton situation. What do you think that they're going to allocate this money towards? Do you think they hold on to it? Are they going to be players at the trade deadline? What are your thoughts about all the cap space they have post June 1st?
It's always a sticky thing with that, because you can try to use it now, but then you can just say, hey, let's hold on to it. If there's something at the deadline that we want to do, you never know about injuries and something that can happen that you need to go out and get something else. You can just sock that away, put it under your mattress, and see what else is there that you might need throughout the year.
Yo, Rod over here dropping heat as always, and we got one more segment with the legend on the way. But first, I got to tell you about something that's just as awesome. Awesome is when a guy can be a guy and get an amazing haircut. That is Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men. Just stop in, sit back, and relax, and let one of Lady Jane's talented hairstylists make you look and feel great. Walk in anytime, 7 days a week. That is Lady Jane's, and it's wicked awesome.
Make it awesome.
Stop searching for a vehicle and start finding one. Les Stanford Chevrolet Cadillac makes it easy. We harness the power of multiple dealerships and own the biggest selection of GM brands in the area to get you the car you need. With the Les Stanford Group, you'll have access to 4 different dealerships, providing you with more makes, more models, and more choices. We're connected to more than 1,000 vehicles, and with so many high-quality CPO vehicles available, you'll find new car quality at pre-owned prices. You can start and end your search at lesstanford.com today.
A ton of fun, a ton of sports, and a ton of man meat. Welcome to the Woodward Heavyweights, live daily 5 to 7 p.m. on Woodward Sports.
Come to any Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men and claim your throne for a king's treatment from one of our talented stylists. Open 7 days a week. Walk in anytime. Just get to a Lady Jane's today and receive a precision haircut, scalp massage, hot lather neck shave, and a hot towel treatment. A haircut should not be a chore. It should be an experience. And that's exactly what Lady Jane's has to offer. Open 7 days a week. Walk-ins are always welcome. There's always a location near you. Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men, it's wicked awesome.
Thank you to all the fans for making Woodward Sports your #1 online destination for Detroit sports. We promise not to drop the ball.
Let Guardian Alarm offer you customized solutions from real experts. Our professional technicians, they take the time to recommend security and automation solutions specific to your needs. It's 24/7 professional monitoring. Call us anytime, day or night. Know that a Guardian team member will stay on the phone with you as long as needed. Why? Because it is technology that is backed by people. In your safety and your security, it deserves technology that's been proven to work and people who have been proven to care. All you got to do is call this number right here, 1-800-STAY-OUT. Once again, that number is 1-800-STAY-OUT. And you guys already know it's Wednesday. There's been some news from our beloved. They've been in the news. They find ways, and it's because of some of these former great teams that always stay relevant in basketball conversation. Hopefully, this current attempt that the organization is going through right now to restructure their front office can give us some more storied moments in Detroit Pistons history. But first, let's welcome back the legend with the drum roll. You guys ready?
Yep.
Let's rock. Hey, yo! Shout out and welcome to the legend, Detroit News, Rod Beard. Brother, you already know we need Rod's thoughts to kick this thing off.
People have been asking me, when I said it's been a week, this is what I meant. Just people around just to stop you and ask you, hey, what do you think about the front office moves? And it is, you don't know. I mean, my entire week has been like, I don't know.
Right.
I can't say, is Trajan Langdon what Troy Weaver was when they hired Troy Weaver? Just highly acclaimed, and he's going to bring the goods. And I don't know.
Yeah,
you just
saying
don't
the same stuff,
right? It's the same kind of background. And I'll say this: you can't say whether the things that were done, the good things that were done in their previous stops, were because of them, or because they were there in the room. And so it's was it Sam Presti pulling all the strings and doing all of that? From what we kind of know about Troy, we knew he was the talent evaluator. He may not have been the one who called all of the shots in those cases. We know how he felt about Russ. We know how he felt about some of those high-level players there.
Steven Adams.
Yeah. Do we know that Trajan Langdon is the key behind all of this stuff that we've seen in New Orleans and Brooklyn? He's bringing that with him. We don't know. I can't say for sure whether he's that guy or he was in the room and he was just around it. And there's a big difference in those two things. When you're around something and you're doing something, you're making the call and saying, I'm putting my reputation and staking it on this thing. It's a big difference. So my thought is just, I don't know. I can't say, and I don't want to get into the show me every draft pick the Pelicans did, or every guy that the Nets picked while they were there. I don't want to do that. Tell me that Trajan Langdon stood on the table and said Russell Westbrook is going to be an all-star and we need to pick him over all of these other guys, and get that right. You tell me that and I can believe a little bit more. So that's just kind of where I am on the whole thing. Is just, I don't know if this is a great hire. I know it's a change, and he's going to bring in a whole new front office. Is he going to bring a new coach with him? I don't know. It's so much still to be figured out, and people are just really the Pistons are a topic of conversation, obviously, in this city. But I don't have answers. I can't tell you anything more than that.
Yeah, you know what? And you said it right. With my time on the beat, this is the second kind of front office change now that I'm going to go through. And it is different for me this time around versus with the Troy Weaver. When Troy Weaver was hired, all the same things were being said. All of the big accounts, from the Wojs to NBA players, former NBA players, they were all saying, yo, this is a good hire for the Detroit Pistons. Same thing that they're saying about Trajan Langdon this time around. But this time for me, it is more of a wait and see approach. You know, one of my questions that I want to be able to ask whenever the press conference is announced is, what is the sense of urgency? What is the expectation? You know, is this something that you see as urgent? We need to turn this thing around in the next season or two, especially given the perspective of the fans? Or are you coming in believing as a new hire with a new front office that you should be able to get the time to really implement what you want? And that might take, like Troy Weaver said, 3, 4, 5 seasons. It's going to be interesting.
Bro, let me tell you what's going to be in the comments before it gets in the comments. There is no time. You can't wait that long, because the fans are going to say, we want to win now. They're not going to be on the patient, we need 4 or 5 years, because which is a completely false thought. Let me say that. When you look at this roster, is this a competitive roster in the Eastern Conference? Is this a top is this a playoff team or a play-in team in the Eastern Conference? Is it a top 10 Eastern Conference team right now? No.
Not at all.
No. And how long
Sadly.
is it going to take to get there? And you're back in the same thing that Troy did when Troy got here, is you have to just pull all of the weeds out of this roster and say, what pieces can I keep? And how much are they going to cost? And what can I go get? This is you bought a new house and it's not quite what you wanted to, but now you've got to go and fix. Well, we're going to paint in here. We're going to change this. We're going to do that. It's a lot of stuff. And it's the same decisions. Do we have to tear it down to the studs? How much of it can we keep? How much of it has to be significantly altered? These are the same types of things that I don't think Troy's decision was about a coach. This is something that Trajan Langdon is going to have to figure out, is whether he wants to just change this entire thing. And fans have to realize, if you're starting from scratch again,
it could take
possibly with a new coach, you're talking at least 4 or 5 years. Some teams have figured it out. In all honesty and reality, teams have figured it out in 3 or 2. But that's the anomaly. So don't come into this expecting to say the Pistons are, even with Cade, and even if they go and get some all-star and blah, 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 this is a 2-year turnaround. If that's what you believe, that's what you believe. It's just not going to be that. It is not that at all. There aren't enough pieces on this roster to even have me sit here and tell you that this is a 2-year turnaround. This feels like a 3, 4, 5 at least.
Yep, it had the promise at one point in time, but you're looking at some of these other young players that are in the same draft class as some of our guys, and they're a little bit more ahead of the curve. They're playing in situations that our young players could only dream about at this point in time. And, we have a couple questions from the rest of the crew, but I wanted to be able to at least drop the news. And before we close out the segment, too, going to have to get your takes on the 2004 Detroit Pistons versus 2017 Golden State Warriors debate. But J.R. Holden has been hired into the Detroit Pistons front office. His position has not yet been announced yet, or at least there's nothing on social media or LinkedIn that's showing us exactly what he's going to be here as. But his prior history has been as a scout, and he also spent some time here with the Pistons as college and international scout as well. Back in 2014 to 2018, spent some time with the Detroit Pistons. Also has been with the Philadelphia 76ers as well as the Brooklyn Nets. And the other hire that's been made known via X and LinkedIn is Michael Blackstone as the Executive Vice President of Basketball Operations for the Detroit Pistons, working directly beneath Trajan Langdon in that hierarchy. But I know, KG, you had a question as well?
Yeah, and you brought up Monty. Of course, we don't know what they'll do in regards to Monty Williams, because if they were to get rid of him, Tom Gores probably has to eat around $60 million. But if you're Trajan Langdon, and tell me about it. But if you're Trajan Langdon and making this decision, do you hold on to Monty? Because I think that's a big key as to how this thing will look going forward. Would you hang on to Monty, or would you just cut your losses, eat the $60 million, and try to find a new coach, if it were you?
I will go with my familiar script in any of these. Should we get a new coach, tell me who you're going to get. Tell me who you're going to get. Because Monty was we need the best coach available at the time. And you went and got the best coach available. And that's one of those, hey, he's a great coach of young players. The players are all excited to play for him, bloop, bloop, bloop. And we see what happened. Yeah. I don't know what to believe anymore. because I had players tell me they were excited. They were hype about, and it was no shade against Dwayne Casey at all, but they were excited to play for Monty because he was a player's coach. And you just didn't see that translate on the court one bit at all. Go ahead, jump in.
No, I was gonna say Matthew Kruger in the chat. Actually, the only name that's come to mind to me, and I got his picture up on the wall, signed for when he broke the franchise's single game scoring record. And that is Jerry Stackhouse. You already know, right? Hell no. He says, "What about Jerry Stackhouse as a potential coach candidate for the Detroit Pistons?" He was a hot name before.
What about Chauncey Billups? I mean, if we're just throwing stuff out here, what about Chauncey Billups? What about any of this?
That's right.
I mean, it's. I got nothing. Are you excited if I tell you Jerry Stackhouse? Are you?
No.
Does that get you hyped and say? What's
I
his
love
connection?
Stackhouse, but I'm not like, yeah, that's the pick right there. That's the coaching hire that's going to take us over the top. Are we going to hope for the best? Probably, but yeah.
I mean, it's really. This is about fit, and this is about getting everything right because we've been through this. We've seen this movie, and we know, hey, new front office. Hey, maybe there's a new coach somewhere in here. Hey, we're going to go and try to revamp the roster. We've seen all of this so many times, and there's no guarantees in this that it's going to turn out right. It's as a journalist, a lot of this stuff is just cyclical. And you see a new coach, you see a new front office, you see a whatever, and okay, like what's different with this one? Fans are very much the same way. We're just a little bit more connected to it because we see it every day and we're closer and we're directly plugged into it. But what's different about this? Okay, Stackhouse. If you're just going to tell me you want former Pistons coaches, then yeah, put Chauncey's name in there, put Isaiah's name in there, put Lambier's name in. If we're just doing it because they're former Pistons or have some connection to it, then just put anybody's name in it. This has
Michael
to be
Curry's
done
name in there,
right? But it has to be done in a different way. This whole thing just needs to be completely reconstructed with a different vision of what this looks like.
Speaking of reconstructing the Pistons and the front office, I personally believe, and I want to hear your thoughts on this, and I'm going to choose my words carefully, that
here we go.
Right.
Because we all know in New Orleans that, it could have been David Griffin more running the show, or we don't know for sure what Trajan Langdon's actual role is. But with what was done with Trajan Langdon as the general manager, his resume, and I say that with a potential caveat, his resume to me had less blemishes than Troy Weaver's, Monty Williams, and Dwayne Casey's. And that makes me a little bit more hopeful. Am I naive or no?
Yes.
Okay. Fair enough.
Great analysis.
No. Okay. So let me go by this. What was Dwayne Casey's resume coming in here? He won a championship. He won a championship with Dallas as an assistant coach. Was that all him? It's the same sort of idea. As an assistant coach, is how much input or how much did you have in that? He had some. As an assistant coach, you know that you have some direct input and push into what happens. So it's always hard to say with those things. Dwayne Casey had done so well in Toronto. He was a coach of the year coming in, and sometimes it just doesn't work out. You can have really good credentials and you end up in a situation that just it's hard to win. You play a game that you can't always win, even if you have the credentials, the background, everything else is there. There are all-star players who come here. Blake Griffin came here and couldn't win. So sometimes it's not the person or what they bring into it. It's just the situation is a bad mix of everything. The front office might not be what you want. The players and roster may not be what you want. The cap may not be. These are all good guys who have good basketball acumen and know what they're doing. Sometimes you just don't. I mean, the Phoenix Suns, very good team. They just didn't win the championship this year. And so all of these people that I'm talking about are very decorated, very accomplished people. And sometimes it just doesn't work for no particular reason, nothing bad they did. It just doesn't work out. And so I don't want to say that any of these, any of the stuff is bad. It's just only one team wins. And sometimes the construction of what you're doing just isn't conducive to that person winning or that group of people winning.
No, and that's fair. And I'll use Monty Williams as a quick example.
Sure.
With what he did last year as a coach, I don't think anybody would say that was a success or a good job. I would say in New Orleans, he was kind of average. 5 seasons, 3 seasons, no playoffs, 2 seasons with a first-round exit. And I think you could argue, because you've seen it throughout this player's track record, that their turnaround with the Phoenix Suns, although they had that winning streak in the bubble without him, was more about Chris Paul than Monty Williams. You look at Chris Paul's history. New Orleans, his rookie year, they have 20 more wins. You see what happens when you add him to the Clippers. They go from being an exciting team to a playoff team. How he was able to stabilize OKC after Russell Westbrook and Paul George left, and him and SGA kept them afloat. Even Houston, he kind of raised their ceiling from a 55-win team to a number 1 seed 65-win team. I think that my point is that Monty Williams may not have been that great coach that we all thought that he was, even though he had led the Phoenix Suns to a championship. There was some caveats to it.
And I agree with you on that. Sometimes the credentials puff you up to be a little bit more than what you are. And again, and that's the whole point in all of this. You got to sit down and prove it. You got to land in Detroit and say, I'm going to make a change here, and this is going to happen. And a lot of these previous coaches and front offices have not been able to do that for whatever reason. So I think that's the challenge, is looking at what can Monty do? What's going to be different? From a coaching standpoint, it's a lot more difficult because you can only deal with the roster that you have. Is Trajan Langdon going to come in and flip this thing and trade for 5 centers at the opening of free agency, and people go bananas over that, and really change this roster quickly to make something different for Monty? That's just going to have to be something we figure out. Is that going to be the draft pick? He's got to have some plans in place to do things quickly, because I think the expectation and the fans' attention is short. That it's like, okay, bro, you got the job. You better start doing something really quick because you only have our attention for so long.
You know what? And that's the nuance and the caveat right there when you talk about building this team the right way. What way is that? Is that according to Trajan Langdon's vision, or are we reset right back to where Troy Weaver was audibly last year, as well as Monty Williams saying, hey, you know what? We had to push pause on free agency because we just hired a guy who doesn't quite fit the talent that we have here in the direction that we were going. And then at the start of training camp, you have Monty Williams saying, hey, I'm not used to coaching this type of team. And clearly, with the way that he managed, or what some people would say mismanaged, some of the young talent like a Jaden Ivey, there's a lot of people who wonder, all right, what is this roster going to have to be able to get the best out of Monty Williams as well? This is going to be a very interesting dynamic, because just changing out the front office doesn't resolve all of the issues from last year. Some of those issues did come from a position of the coach and the talent might not necessarily being as cohesive as you would like, though I did get a sense of being a very, very kind of teacher type coach from Monty Williams, just kind of being around him at the press conferences and being at some of the practices and such. And so maybe there's some growth on his behalf, as well as the team being able to catch up to where he's at. But it's going to be interesting to see what Trajan Langdon does, because as a PBO, you would think he would want to put his imprint and his stamp on this squad and on how this team handles his basketball business, his operations. But you got a coach and Monty Williams, who the owner personally went and got and paid to be, at the time, the highest paid coach in the NBA. It's going to be an interesting dynamic to see how they move this thing forward.
Right. And I don't want to see Trajan Langdon try to win the press conference with some splashy phrase or whatever else. I don't want to see that. I want to see him come in and lay out at least part of a plan that just says, here's how we want to be. And I get for Troy Weaver's rebuild and restoration thing, it did tell you what the theme was and what we were going after. I don't think Trajan Langdon is the same type of dude. I think he's a more, if you can be quieter than Troy Weaver, I think that's Trajan Langdon. And I think it just, hey, we want to be better. We want to bring back the winning atmosphere. And those are some of the things that Troy Weaver said too. But I think Trajan Langdon can be his own person and just kind of lay out what his plan is going to be.
Yeah, it's gonna be interesting. I saw Josh Eberle on X getting things a little riled up as well. He had this crazy hypothetical where the Detroit Pistons receive 2 players that we've talked about all season, Brandon Ingram and Zach LaVine, but they're giving up to the Bulls, Jaden Ivey, and a 2029 top 10 protected pick. And then the Pelicans get this year's number 5, a 2027 top 3 protected pick, Marcus Sasser and Evan Fournier. And to me, when I saw that, is where it
done deal for you. Wait, who do we need to call? Who do we need to call? Wait, hey, done deal. Done.
That's where it brought to mind what is going to be the strategy and the sense of urgency because you're instantly getting some buckets next to K.
Hey, where is that? Bro, do you know how quickly? Hey, somebody who has traded like done. Has this dude been listening to the pod? Has he been listening to the pod? Because like seriously,
these have been the players.
Man,
these have been the ones all year.
I would do this today.
Today.
Yeah. Yes.
Today, son. Just let's go.
Yeah, you can't even think about what you think you're losing for the future. We've seen this. You're telling me you can get me those 2 guys and you keep Jalen Duren and Asar Thompson? Done deal.
Yep.
Done deal.
Do you understand? I don't even care about the cap implications of this. I don't care about any of these draft picks. This 2029 pick is in like 7th grade right now. I don't even 7th or 8th grade. That dude is
it's real, man. It's real.
Done deal.
Do you know how quickly I would do this deal? This thing would be done.
It would look like a Lions war room, man. Like their draft war where they're going crazy and high-fiving and everything.
How many years does Zach LaVine have left on his contract? I don't care. Bring me this. Bring me this trade. Man, dude, hot.
Hey, you know what? I can't wait to see what the chat family is going to say. I know when this gets over to Woodward Pistons, it's going to go crazy. And just last thing before we let you go, 2004 Detroit Pistons, 2017 Golden State Warriors. Do you think those going-to-work Pistons will hold their own?
Man, do you know what those Pistons would do to Golden State?
Talk about it. Talk about it.
Man,
talk about it.
They would score, like Golden State would score 81 points and feel like they had accomplished something. Like, okay, yeah, you hit 27 threes, but like they weren't. Okay, you got to tell me which period. Are we playing in? Are we teleporting back to 2004? Or are we moving and we playing in 2017? Because if we're playing with 2004 rules, Golden State is scoring 75 to 81 points. They're going to have to hit 27 3. They're going to hit 20.
Look at Sam.
Oh, no. No. Run. Flannel was getting going, too.
Please come back. It's all right. It's all right.
Oh,
Sam,
man.
what did you do?
There we go.
The only way they get to 81 points is 27 free throws or 27 3-pointers, no free throws, no 2-pointers at all. That is the only way because they're not getting in the paint. And if they get in the paint, they're not getting in the paint again because oh my goodness. Yeah, no. That is an 87-81 game one. And then Golden State just kind of concedes the rest of the series. That is, oh my goodness.
Let's go. I like that analysis. That's wise analysis from the legend Detroit News right here.
That's
my question.
Nobody.
Who's guarding Sheed? Who's guarding Sheed? Sheed's guarding KD.
Oh my God! So somebody can guard KD, but not Sheed. Come on.
Let's rock.
I love that team.
Is KD guarding Sheed? Okay,
no.
Even better. Tayshaun is guarding Sheed.
Yep.
Or Tayshaun is guarding KD.
7'2" wingspan, 4-time All-NBA defense.
They're the same cat. Tayshaun might weigh more than KD. I don't know that offhand, but he might weigh more.
That's the truth.
See, Rod, and I know we got to get to break. You went a little bit too far because there's people that are for the Warriors that'll say like, oh, they're just gonna shoot 35 threes on 60%, and the Pistons we're not gonna know what hit them. I think that's too far. But also saying that the Warriors will score 81, I think that's a little too far the other way. This is KD, Steph, and Clay. This to me is the best team in NBA history, in my opinion. This isn't 2016. This isn't 2015. This is the most this was a cheat code. This was a cheat code at the time. 2017 was a cheat code.
Are you telling me Draymond is guarding Sheed?
Draymond will hold his own to some degree. To some degree, he's going to bother him a little bit.
Nope.
Defensive Player of the Year.
Draymond said it best. Nope.
Draymond getting teed up in the first game. What are we talking about?
Yeah, getting frustrated trying to defend Rasheed.
Draymond better go try to guard Ben because no, he is not guarding Sheed. It will be chicken cacciatore in the paint every single time.
Well, nobody has to guard Ben.
Oh my God!
Oh my God! All right. I'm so glad we got that question.
Nothing else needs to be said.
You know what? Shout out to the legend, Detroit News, Rob Beard, sports editor-in-chief at the Detroit News. Definitely tap in with them. They do great work, great people. Love all of the interaction. They treat me well in that media room too, man. Your guys, it's awesome time all the time. Thank you, Rob Beard, as always.
Guys, appreciate it. Have a good week.
You too, man. Blessings, brother. Oh, man.
Chicken cacciatore.
Right.
Damn.
What a segment, man. Rod is electric every single time, man. Awesome. And great questions from you guys as well.
Yeah. Here's the question to all you guys.
Go ahead, Sam.
With the 04 Pistons, they'd obviously beat the Dream Team and the Redeem Team. The best of the Dream Team and the Redeem Team, right?
What we got?
Of course they would beat the Dream Team because there was no Isaiah Thomas on
The 04 team, they would beat a team with the starting lineup of Magic Johnson, Michael Jordan, LeBron James, Tim Duncan, and Kareem, right?
If there's no Zeke.
Now Zeke's better than Magic
Now
Johnson.
more than ever, it is critical for you to have your insurance review.
We gonna kill Sam up here. Sam gonna have a heart attack up here. We keep on.
Look, that's why you gotta get Swiss Insurance. They'll make sure your carrier is not slipping in any extra fees or raising deductibles. Call Mark at Swiss Insurance today, 313-530-1698. Visit them online, SwissINS.com, and let them know Woodward Sports sent you.
Yo, let me just say, I love Planet Fitness.
Trying out Planet Fitness and dang, they got lots of equipment.
Not me getting a Planet Fitness membership just for the 24-hour perk.
Listen, the PF Black Card is worth every penny for this hydro massage. I'm a new man.
Did y'all know that the PF app has workouts you can do at home? Cheapest therapy I can find is Planet Fitness.
All the benefits, all for less. Planet Fitness, big fitness energy for all.
You have an opinion? Make sure it's seen and heard. Corner, jumper, tweet us, hop on the YouTube chat, slide in the DMS at Woodward Sports on all social media.
Drive into summer and drive into savings during Feldman Chevrolet's biggest Memorial Day sale ever. We're stocked with new Chevy cars, trucks, and SUVs, all priced to move. Like this 2024 Silverado for only $217 a month. Or this 2024 Equinox for as low as $199 a month. Find your freedom in a Feldman at the Memorial Day sale going on now at Feldman Chevrolet, Michigan's #1 Chevy dealer.
Did somebody say merge?
Someone said Detroit Science shirt.
Oh, no, not
Nobody said
Detroit
that.
Science
Let's
shirt.
go.
Look, I hope you're tired of wearing that same old Detroit sports merch because it is a new era in sports wearables with new designs, amazing apparel, and the ultimate swag. Do yourself a favor. Go over to woodwardsports.com. Click on that shop tab. We are dropping new designs every single week. I feel like we need a Flannel Sam versus Detroit Pistons shirt somewhere in there. But anyway, let me tell you about these ones that we got up here. Hashtag Boot 'em Kids coming soon.
Boot 'em Kids.
We got Welcome to Detroit sign. You know Kool-Aid has a couple of these in his closet right now. We got the Tigers t-shirts, sweatshirts, and the Dan Campbell and Brad Holmes election t-shirts, hoodies, and hats as well too. So hey, stop over at woodwardsports.com. Click on that shop tab. We got to get that flannel versus Detroit Pistons somehow, some way.
Oh, man. Yo, what up, though, people? Welcome back to Wake Up Woodward. We appreciate you guys for choosing to kick off the day with the crew. Got the entire starting five in the building, plus the sixth man, that dude, Justin.
That dude.
Hey, and it's been already a good start to the show, chat family. As always, you guys are the most important part of this show. So when you get an opportunity to, please treat it kindly and satisfy that like button.
Can I just say one thing before we move on? Just one thing.
Get your shit off.
This is not argumentative in the slightest bit. And I'm going to ask you specifically, Kool-Aid, because
no.
Is it an insane, otherworldly, out of this box, lunatic, put me in the asylum opinion that I think the 17 Warriors would beat the 04 Pistons?
No.
That's all I'm saying.
It's not.
Do I think I argued my point as well as I could have yesterday? No. And I admitted that at the beginning of the show, but it's not an insane opinion.
No. It's not.
Thank you. The chat is making me feel like I've lost my mind or something.
Oh, no. Now, you know how I feel about it.
Yes.
It's not. It's a great conversation. I think that we do it disservice if we are Pistons observers, fans, supporters, or whatever, and we just say, oh, no, the Pistons are just going to sweep them. I think we're doing a complete disservice, and now we're becoming those people that we say we don't like.
Yeah, fair enough. And like I said, if you missed my my mea culpa at the beginning of the show, you can go back and watch.
Mea culpa.
Is that the right terminology?
No, it is.
Okay,
it's just also a great name of an episode of Californication.
Hey, shout out David Duchovny.
Yes. Also, Kool-Aid, you want some heat from Ed O'Neill?
Yeah.
How about a little bit of some subtle heat?
Let's go.
Thank you for the donation, by the way. Ed, he says, Brandon's bias about the Pistons is what Easy says about us golf lovers.
No.
Thoughts?
Brandon's bias about the Pistons. I don't even know how I'm biased about the Pistons, though.
It may be maybe that's a key word in there. Like
I picked them to win 29 games at the start of the season. I didn't say
I picked 32. I picked 32.
I said if it's catastrophic injury, you're gonna see sub-20s. They had the catastrophic injury, and that's on record. I said that on Woodward night, sitting in that chair that Matthew Broder's in right now, and that's exactly what happened. They had the catastrophic injury. They won sub-20 games, and even at best, I thought 29. I said, do I want to see them throw down the gauntlet to try and win 35? If everything goes perfect, sure. Why not push for more? Why not try and put yourself in a position to make the play-in? But in terms of what I actually thought they would do, I thought they would still be pretty bad.
And look what we debating about 35 wins.
That's what I'm saying. It's like, I don't care advice.
Man.
I liked what Troy Weaver brought to the table, and I think what people hate is that I don't just go and say, you know what? Off with his head. I'm never going to be that when this organization has proven to be the biggest common denominator, and people, no matter what their resumes are beforehand, coming here and then looking nothing like they did before. I'm seeing a bunch of other people who have wins, winning awards all across the league, or having other people talk about how good they are. They get to the Pistons and all of a sudden it's just their fault. SVG was a good coach and a good basketball mind before he got here.
Yeah.
Troy Weaver, the same thing. Dwayne Casey, the same thing. There's one common denominator here, and that's what I'm always going to focus on. Arn Tellerman's been here in this team for a while. There's been some positives. There's been some negatives.
A lot of negatives.
Yeah, but overall, for me personally, it's just about holding the organization to a brand new standard. I can't keep seeing people come in here and all of the press releases and all the basketball minds in the world are saying, this is the perfect hire. That's what they said about Troy. Yeah. You couldn't find somebody that said this pick, this hire was not it. Trajan Langdon, the same thing. Now we can only hope, realistically, that the organization does right by him.
Yeah. You know what this sound like? SOP. Same old Pistons.
Same old Pistons.
Could be. And
I actually agree with that.
And all of my optimism about Trajan Langdon, I am prepared for it to be ruined. I am. I 100% am.
He's kind of set up to fail. I mean, we got to just be real. He has a better chance of failing than actually finding a way to turn this mess
track
around.
Record, you're right.
Like, yeah.
Where have we seen track record rise in the last 15 years that the front office and that the organizational structure has been one to actually put these people in position to succeed? We just haven't had it. Now, as an owner, Tom Gores, I believe, has gotten better over time. He's opened up that checkbook. He will pay for what he thinks is the best, but that just means that now your basketball room around you has to be one that's leading you down the right aisle to spend the right money. It can't just be, you know what, that car looks good over there, but it's really a clunker.
Yeah.
That's what's happening right now. He's spending the bread, but who's advising him?
Well, and like I said before, I think Trajan Langdon's resume was a little better than Troy Weaver's was. And that's kind of my hope. I think it's a little bit better than Dwayne Casey's and Monty Williams's was. And that's just my opinion. You can disagree all you want, but it may not matter. I'm prepared for it to not matter because, you know, if there's some inside forces that have been at play for a while, they could derail this too. I'm 100% prepared for that.
Look, I'm going to be optimistic, and maybe that's something that people don't like. But if, you know, beforehand, I liked Trajan Langdon.
Yeah.
I liked what the New Orleans Pelicans were doing. We've talked about him on this show before. I like Willie Green. I like him more than probably Monty Williams right now.
Yeah.
I like the structure. Health has been something that's been a big downturn to kind of keeping the Pelicans back from achieving what I believe they could. But I like what's going on there. And whether he's the one calling the shots or not, if he was somebody involved with it, if he's somebody that's learning, if he's somebody that doesn't have an ego to the point that he can say, you know what, I can replicate these things. The good and the positives that I learned along the way, I can add that to my tool bag. If he's that guy and he's getting the power to be able to do this stuff, then I'm going to be optimistic about it.
And as I've said before, I think the New Orleans Pelicans are a well-run organization. I think the only thing that has stopped them from, at the very worst, being a team that has consistently over the past few years gotten the 4 seed and won a playoff series to at most maybe even representing the West in the finals is injuries. And like Zion Williamson, how could you account for him being maybe the most injured player in NBA history? A guy like Brandon Ingram didn't have an injury history until he came to New Orleans. Same with CJ McCollum. It's just injuries have derailed this team.
And I see Matthew Kruger. He says, stop building around Cade and start winning games. Cade's close. Cade's a bum. He's had 3 years. He can't get it done. Ship him all the time. I mean, honestly, wake me up when they've built around Cade.
Yeah.
They just haven't done that yet.
And he's had 2 years.
It's
One year he
a team
was
full of
injured.
young players and hobbled vets. And I'm going to continue to say that. Every year, the vets they thought they could depend on, other than Jeremy Grant, have been supremely injured. Period. Yeah. Like they haven't had anything. Bojan every year. Alec Burks. What are we doing?
Is it too early to have the conversation or ask the question? Will Cade be a better player as the number 2 or the 1B, as the Jaylen Brown on a winning team? Is it too early to go there?
I think it depends on how you denote 1B and all that, because Cade is always going to be one of those players who the drink goes away, he stirs it. That's just how, even if there's a guy who's a better scorer or a better ISO player or a better clutch player, he's always one of those guys who's going to be a connector, somebody that pulls it together, just the same way we saw with like a Chauncey Billups type. So that is his style of play. That's the style of effect he can have on a game, but you want to be able to have some talent around him, and sometimes that might mean he's not the lead or focal point from a scoring standpoint. And honestly, Cade Cunningham has talked about the fact that he doesn't really care about being the number 1 scorer on the team. Obviously, he cares about winning, but he says he likes to be able to set up his players more. When we were in that draft cycle, we did a lot of breakdown on who Cade Cunningham was as a player, and we noticed the same thing that Isaiah Thomas did when he first entered the league. They're probing point guards who like to try and set up their teammates first. If you're in that starting lineup with them, it doesn't matter what the proficiency or what the numbers or what the fans or what the outside noise says. He's looking to be able to get you basically in position to have success as an offensive player. And defensively, he tries to play all over the place, even though he does have some work to do in that regard. But overall, I think he's just one of those guys that you have to have in the mix. He's going to always have the ball in his hands a large portion of the time, but you got to pair him up with some scores.
Yeah,
you got to.
And I guess it's going to be like a Cade and Pistons segment. While we're at it, this is something that I never have gotten the chance to do. I'm going to defend Cade Cunningham and give you like the real picture of what he was working with this year, as opposed to even what Jaden Ivey was working with the year before. The year before with Jaden Ivey, Bojan played 59 games and was a 20-point-per-game guy on 40% shooting. The next year, the combination of Bojan and Fontecchio played 43. The previous year, Alec Burks played more games and shot a better percentage than he did this year with Cade Cunningham. Last year with Jaden Ivey, Isaiah Livers was a solid role player. This year with Cade Cunningham, he was unplayably terrible. Right. Last year with Jaden Ivey, you had almost a full season of Sadiq Bey, who is better than who they traded him for, and James Wiseman, who that's what Cade Cunningham had to work with. Look at some of those games last year where Jaden Ivey won it for them. There were some really, really good Sadiq Bey games. Did he get cold as ice sometimes? Absolutely. But
he's young.
That's the thing. Sadiq Bey was better for this team than James Wiseman has been, and nobody would debate that.
Yes,
Even a guy like Hamidou Diallo. And if you want to like snicker at Hamidou Diallo, he was solid, a solid vet who they had last year that they didn't have this year. So anybody talking about so that's what you're talking about when it comes to like vets that Cade couldn't depend on that the previous year they could. Even a guy like Monty Morris, he didn't play. He didn't play.
Gosh, he didn't play.
He didn't play like at all. So
it's frustrating, and he wanted to be here too.
If people want to talk about Cade and how he's like not a winner and Matthew Kruger's calling him a bum, a lot of those guys that you thought that you could count on for this year that actually played well the previous year with Jaden Ivey were not that this year for the Detroit Pistons. So That's my ultimate defense of Cade and why it should never, ever, 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 ever be turned over to just Jaden Ivey. Never.
Man.
Don't let Stick hear that.
Flannel.
Yes.
Sam.
Yes.
Man.
Thank you.
Right. Round
That
eight.
was brilliant. Like it
Thank
was.
you.
I mean, and it's everything that I feel like I know, especially, you know, it's partly my job to watch every game.
Yeah.
To watch it again, to listen to everything they're saying in person, to go back and listen to all of the footage, all of the press conferences, but to have it from somebody who's actually looking at the game as well from a different perspective, and to be able to explain it in the way that you did, it was perfect.
I appreciate that. And just for the record, I want to kind of answer your question too, Broder, talking about how Cade as maybe a number 2.
Or 1B.
Or 1B. We talked about Zach LaVine yesterday on our layup line, and you talked about him in that hypothetical trade. If you look back just a couple of years, you know who Zach LaVine and the team had a lot of success playing next to? Lonzo Ball. I'm not, and I'll tell you what, Cade Cunningham is better than Lonzo Ball, but they're both those like big point guards who can distribute, who don't always want to take the shot.
Flannel's spitting right
I'm
now,
just
bro.
saying the Cade Cunningham Zach LaVine fit could be seamless, and we all know that like a Brandon Ingram fit would be more than seamless.
That's why, you know what? I'm getting as excited as Rod. Like if that was a deal on the table, where do I gotta go outside right now? Right now.
Well, I agree 100% with Rod Beard that like make it happen.
Yeah, make it happen. Make it happen. Man, you know what? I didn't even know that this segment was gonna pop up. Shout out to Broder for posing that question at the beginning of the segment as well.
Yeah, shout out to Broder for putting together this wonderful prep and for us to just be like, Lion stuff. We don't need to talk about that.
Right.
But we'll get to that tomorrow.
Yep.
The chat was you guys were buzzing. It was a very exciting day of a show, and I appreciate you guys for staying engaged.
Yep, we got to cook up, but do we got some business to take care of first, brother?
Yeah, we got Soroki's.
All right. Hey, we already know Soroki's is cooking up. We already know.
Them tenders, oh my God.
I love those tenders. The biscuits.
Maybe.
Oh, is it? Hey.
I love it.
Yeah. I'm sorry. Yeah, absolutely. Sorry about that. Soroki's Crispy Chicken and Pizza is taking over Michigan. Locations are popping up all over Metro Detroit, doubling the number of restaurants this year. Known for their quality, hand-battered and hand-breaded chicken tenders, sandwiches, and New York-style pizza. Be sure to stop in and try at a mega station near you, or go to Sorokis.com.
Hi, my diamonds. It's Crystal with an X. You want to get hot and perfect like me? Here's my super easy routine. Drink at least a gallon of water before you wake up. Attach a weight to everything in your house. Sell your car and just sprint everywhere. Scream when you exhale.
Don't follow Crystal with an X. Do your own thing at Planet Fitness with tons of equipment and free fitness training in our clean and spacious clubs. Join now for just $10 a month and cancel anytime.
Have an opinion? Make sure it's seen and heard. Corner jumper. Tweet us. Hop on the YouTube chat. Slide in the DMS at Woodward Sports on all social media.
Come to any Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men and claim your throne for a king's treatment from one of our talented stylists. Open 7 days a week. Walk in anytime. Just get to a Lady Jane's today and receive a precision haircut, scalp massage, hot lather neck shave, and a hot towel treatment. A haircut should not be a chore. It should be an experience. And that's exactly what Lady Jane's has to offer. Open 7 days a week. Walk-ins are always welcome. There's always a location near you. Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men. It's wicked awesome.
You smell that? That's Brad Holmes cooking. And the off-season smells good. Woodward Sports.
Braylon Edwards here, Premier Pet Supply. Man, just looking around, who's got it better than pets? Come on, a baby stroller for Coda? A chef for Lola? Really? You don't have to tell me who the real boss here is. Who's got it better than pets? Nobody, especially here at Premier Pet Supply. For over 30 years and more than 13 locations, Premier Pet Supply has everything that your pet can dream of. And guess what? It's all under one roof. Premier Pet Supply, family owned, operated, and proud to call Metro Detroit home. Check out premierpetsupply.com or scan the QR code today. Who's got it better than pets?
Nobody!
It's the Woodward Sports Injury Insider with Dr. Jeff Pierce, the medical director of Michigan Sports and Spine Center, every Tuesday on Big D Energy and every Thursday on Armani and Edwards with Maz. Brought to you by MRI of Southfield, featuring the most advanced imaging and maximum patient comfort for over 20 years. MRIofSouthfield.com. Welcome back. What up, though, people? It's Wake Up Woodward. We appreciate you guys for kicking off the day with the Woo Crew. And I think the show has been pretty good today.
Oh, yeah.
Definitely, man. Shout out to the legend, Detroit News Rod Beer, for giving us a couple segments talking all things Detroit sports. But right now, people, as always, you are the most important part of this platform. Go ahead and smash that like button, especially for this next segment that we got cooking up. Let's rock.
Remember, you got to satisfy that like button.
Satisfy that like button, people. Go ahead and satisfy the like button.
Be good to her.
Be good to her.
Now it's time for the most electrifying segment on the internet. Bum, bum, bum. It's What's Trending with JB. Live on Wake Up Woodward.
Ladies and gentlemen, Jay Bizzo.
Let's rock.
Man, fellas. What can I say? You know, when you take your mom out and they say bottomless margaritas, they definitely mean bottomless margaritas.
Yeah.
Oh, boy.
Uh-oh.
Stop it.
Mama, no.
Stop it.
No. No, we can come back for more drinks.
What? Not in the to-go box, though.
In the to-go box, we'll wait.
You can ask for a cup.
Oh, my God.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
And she like, oh, yeah.
Yep, taking this with me. Yep.
That's a Caucasian form of lean. That's a white woman's scissor.
White woman's
You see that Jolly Rancher in there?
It's culture, reverse culture Fridays, right?
Right.
Thank you for teaching us a thing or two, Mr. Broder.
It's a go box, though. That's wild.
In the
That's
to-go
wild.
box, it is just crazy. I don't know. What you guys think?
That's so wild. And you know what? At the same time, I applaud her as well.
I know, you're right. You got to applaud her at the same time as well, too. You know?
Just ask for a cup.
But man, Broder, I got to ask you this. Are you baseball guys just that bored when you're out there sometimes? Because this does not make sense.
It's obviously a really good win. We needed to bounce back after this past week against Georgia. Let's go back on the right track. And I know we got some good pitching left. Didn't use very many guys tonight. So things are looking good for this
for you, and I think somebody knighted behind you.
Shout out to Enos Rakestraw's old school.
You all right?
Shout out.
Mizzou.
Yeah, so baseball players, there's a lot of time on our hands, whether you're standing in the outfield, according to Stephen A. Smith, just spitting pumpkin seeds. No one spits pumpkin seeds. Or in the bullpen. You just learn to get goofy with your teammates.
Of course, that was a 7-inning.
They're boxing in the background.
It's pretty creative. This isn't even a rain out.
Yeah, shout out to White Rose for this this video clip as well too.
Oh my
This is very interesting. Like what you guys are doing.
They used to do more of this in the NBA during like post game interviews.
Match him pitch for pitch.
Yeah, I mean, I think it keeps you a little close.
Oh, that's hilarious.
They stole the block M, by the way.
Yeah.
Oh.
No, Broder, I got to ask you a question as a former collegiate baseball player.
Yes.
What was it like on game day when you weren't pitching?
It was actually busier. Like we when we weren't pitching, we had a lot of jobs to do throughout the game. If we're in the bullpen, we always had to be ready in case we were going in. But like if you were starter and the next day or there's a game later in the series, we're charting the current pitcher. We're trying to steal signs from the opposing coach. We're just trying to help with certain jobs around the game.
Your counter stallions.
They put us to work. Honestly, the easiest day in terms of preparation, all the stuff you have to do should be the day you're starting.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Because you got your routine. You start at a certain time. You start your stretching and warm up at a certain time. Man, we would start stretching 3 hours and 45 minutes before a game would start. But if you're a starting pitcher, you probably get going like an hour and 15 minutes before.
All right.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Interesting insight.
Yeah, I did not know about that. All right. So the more you know, hey. But hey, brother, this question is for you as well too. So I'm gonna pause this video. and I want you to tell me what happens next. All right?
All right.
Let's do it. Broder, what happens next?
Oh, he
You'll never guess what this pitch hits. So it's not. I want to say it's the Randy Johnson, the bird that flies in front of him. Does he hit a bird? Is it a bird?
Is that your guess?
Final answer.
I know I've seen this at some point. I can't think of anything other than hitting a bird while he pitches.
His pitcher senses.
I actually think I know what happens, but I'll let the video.
Yeah, let it fly.
All right.
Oh,
yes!
I didn't expect that at all.
Truck, man. Who's
Hold on.
driving a truck?
You know what gets me too? Whoever's at second or short.
Oh,
second, look at
God.
him. He just raises his glove up like,
man, come on.
He was trying to do that. What? That's not AJ Burnett, is it?
Is that AJ Burnett?
It looks like him, but it doesn't look like it's on the back
if he
of
was
his jersey.
trying to do that, then
he was
impressive
43.
because he definitely hit that back window square in the center.
I see FloridaMarlins.com. This was during the Marlins game.
Yes,
Look
one of
at
the
this.
Marlins games.
Right there,
Back in
right
the
on the
day.
money if he was trying.
Is that a mask? Oh, that was a Marlin driving it. Do you think he was aiming for the window or the Marlin?
Probably the
Word,
window.
you trying to beam a mascot?
He was aiming for the window.
That's pretty impressive, though. Come on.
Yeah.
Yeah,
He was aiming for it. It's
during
pretty
warm-ups, yeah.
That's really getting over your front leg, making sure to extend to hit, the outside part of the plate to a righty. Impressive.
That's right down the middle of the plate.
Impressive. Better than Stephen A.
Impressive. Shout out to CBS Sports for that video as
Yo,
well, too.
that
Very
Broder and
impressive.
Stephen A. beef is gonna go forever.
It will go forever. But man, it is graduation season. Shout out once again to my niece for graduating. She walked across the stage this past Saturday,
Shout out.
Hazel Park School. But I gotta show you some epic fails from graduation season as well too.
Oh, oh my God!
Oh, on his head.
Jesus.
Ooh. No. How do you recover from this type of stuff?
Oh,
You don't. You
You
just
don't.
pick yourself up and keep going.
Too
Come on,
confident.
brother. Look at the stairs.
Pride
Look at the
comes
stairs.
before the fall. Oh, bro, that's a lot more stairs than I thought.
Jesus.
Bruh.
That's tough.
I can't.
Broken ankles.
Bruh.
Oh my word!
Shout out to Overtime for this one as well.
Congrats, y'all.
Congrats,
I love it at the
even
bottom.
though it was painful, even though it was very painful. And I got something very special to end this What's Trending off for you guys. Shout out to Justin for working so hard over here in the chair, even though you can't see him back here. But he put this together, our little mock-up jerseys.
Ooh,
what are you guys thinking out there in the chat? Let us know.
I need that
this
today.
Is fire.
I like
need that
it.
today.
I like it.
Gimme.
Yes,
I like that.
it. Man.
Let's go.
We got to get an alternate with the WUW, though.
We do.
Yeah.
We
Yeah,
do. The City Connect has to be the UW.
I got you. I was debating if you'd want the woo or the whole Wake Up Woodward logo. I was also thinking about putting the woo on the sleeve, but I couldn't get like a side view on the sleeve to put that there.
Yeah.
But that's what I was thinking.
No, that jersey's pretty crispy.
Yeah, I think that one's crispy. But if you can come with like a real City Connect one and use that Woo logo too, we got 2 jerseys. I like that.
Nice. But that's
I would
it for
buy a
What's Trending,
t-shirt
you
like that.
guys.
I need that now.
Hey, and before we get to mailbag, I got to tell you about the sponsor of our mailbag segment, and that is Feldman Chevrolet. Since 1996, Feldman Automotive has been driven to provide a fast, convenient, and first-class car buying experience called the Feldman Advantage. With 18 locations, there's a Feldman dealership in your backyard. Visit feldmanauto.com to find the location nearest you. They helped me out, they helped Matt Broder out, and they can help you guys out too. Visit Feldman today.
I was like, I'm sorry. I was like, who is this just walking up to the studio and saluting that dude, Justin? I wasn't trying to laugh through the reeds.
Wait, what?
Somebody walked up behind Broder, and I was like, I don't know what's going on. And then he just salutes. And I'm like, okay, all right. Then I see that dude, Justin, turn around and salute. Justin, who was that, bro?
That's my dad.
That's your pops?
Hey, shout out.
Shout out, Pops.
Hey, you know what? Shout out to Papa Justin, man.
That's him right
Where's he
there?
at? Yeah, there he goes. Oh, man.
Shout
That's
out.
what's up, man.
Finna get the Lady Jane's touch up.
That's what's up. I was like, yo, shout out.
Stop touching his dad, brother.
What are you doing?
Fast forward.
Call me
You know what?
daddy.
Hey.
Look at Justin's face.
Vad.
It's time for the Wake Up Woodward mailbag segment presented by the Feldman Automotive Group. I hope you guys have been getting those mailbag questions in. Bro, have you seen anything interesting, brother?
Oh, yeah, I got some good ones all over the map, too. We'll start with Ed O'Neill. Mailbag. Do the Lions have the players to be a 2013 Seahawks defense, and how could they get there?
No.
Yeah, let's.
You're not getting. No. That was one of the. They held maybe the greatest offense in NFL history to 8 points in the Super Bowl. But you don't have to be that way. That's the good news, because defenses like that just don't exist anymore. So no, there's nothing that they can do to get to that level. You just be top 15.
Yeah.
Maybe even be top 10. You do that, and you're just fine.
They weren't better than the 04 Pistons defense.
Hey, that's facts.
Yeah. Let me a quick follow-up, another Ed O'Neill mailbag. Do you like the nickname Rakestraw Island or Arnold's Asylum better?
Ooh. Arnold's Asylum.
Yeah, Arnold's Asylum, not bad.
Yeah.
It's a little wordy, but.
Yeah.
But it's like that kind of Arkham Asylum feel. I'm a Batman fan. I actually like that one a lot.
Arnold's Asylum for me, because I think Terrion Arnold is more likely to live up to that nickname personally. So give me Arnold's Asylum.
Rakestraw, you just call him the Rake.
You could.
Yeah, just call him the Rake. I like that.
Or the Scarecrow. The Straw Man.
You know what?
Something like that. How about this? Rando Smalls. I know I answered it in the chat. I'm going to answer it again live on air, just so everyone knows. He says, mailbag, when are we going to stop wasting time on Pistons? The answer is never.
Right. Never.
That is one of our big four teams.
Right.
We may not talk about them every single day, but we're going to talk about them most days. And it's going to be heavy Wednesdays. With Rod Beard on, we have a Woodward Pistons segment every Wednesday at 9, and we tend to go heavy Pistons on Wednesdays, and we got an NBA draft coming up. We're going to stick by this team when they stink.
Yeah.
And then when they're good, we're going to still be here.
Mm-hmm.
We're trying to build up a community here. We got to talk about our teams when they're bad.
Because if you know that you're going to talk about them when they're good, I'm telling you, you're going to want us to be the ones who have the perspective. You're going to want us to be the ones representing ourselves as your credential coverage to be able to know exactly what we're talking about and have a perspective of where they've been. I'm learning on the job as well. This time around, it's going to be much different in terms of how I cover this team underneath Trajan Langdon than I did with Troy Weaver. So it's like you want us to know what's going on, so when we actually do talk to you, whenever this team gets good, we actually know what we're talking about.
Yeah, and honestly, it's not like we were breaking down every game when they were losing their game to make them 14 and 65. We would just kind of be like, the Pistons lost again, whatever.
Right, what else is new?
This is a time of potential hope. This is the offseason. The draft is coming up. They hired a president of basketball associations for the first time since Stan Van Gundy. I mean, that's all
crazy.
That's all stuff that I think is relevant. And who wouldn't want to talk about the Pistons with Rod Beard here and our credentialed Pistons reporter, Kool-Aid? Come on.
Yes. You know who I go to first for my Tigers knowledge? Maybe it's not where I get all my information, but I go to the Tigers ML report with Raj and Chris Brown and Uber, because they've been covering it when the Tigers have been trash, literally for the last 9 years. So when they're good, those are the guys. I want their perspective. They know what this team has been to. That's what I want to talk. I want to learn about the Pistons from you. I want to learn about the Red Wings from you, Flannel, from you, Justin, from D-Mac. I'm not well versed enough yet, but I want to be there when they are good. I want you guys to come back to us when all these teams are good. That's our goal right now.
All right.
Yep. Shout out Raj. He's a hell of a baseball mind and a great dude as well. Former friend of the network or former employee here.
Yeah.
He's the man. Yeah.
Former employee, definitely still a friend.
Definitely. Yeah. I'm coming to you, Kool-Aid, and then you got to pass it over to Flannel.
Yes, sir.
It's a question from Matthew Kruger. Considering defense and rebounding, rank from first to worst: Dikembe Mutombo, Ben Wallace, Dwight Howard, and Andre Drummond. Defense and rebounding.
It's in that order, in my opinion.
Yeah.
It's
Mutombo, Big Ben, Dwight Howard, Andre Drummond.
It's in that order already. I could see Ben Wallace ahead of Dikembe Mutombo. You know what?
Ben Wallace.
You know what? Oh,
Yeah.
man. I got to go Ben Wallace.
Yes.
Dikembe. Dwight. Sheesh. That's not that easy. Man.
No, Dwight's a
That's
stud.
not that easy.
Offensively, I'm taking
stud.
Dwight Howard over all of them.
Yeah, offensively, yeah.
But if you're talking about defense and rebound, I mean, he was good, but I got to have my 1-2 be Ben Wallace, Dikembe Mutombo, Dwight, and then we go Andre Drummond.
I am going to go Dwight, Ben Wallace, Dikembe Mutombo, Andre Drummond. And if you want, And for the record, if you think that I'm too tough on Ben Wallace, you should hear me about Dikembe Mutombo. He stole Defensive Player of the Year awards. Stole them. Stole. Because he did this stupid thing. Did you know? Did you guys know?
Hawks fans are about to be all up in this, man.
But however, a little flannel stat of the day. Did you guys know? But this is serious. Dikembe Mutombo never once led the NBA in defensive win shares.
Do the finger wag now.
Never. Never. Not once. And for the record, Ben Wallace did it 4 times.
Ooh.
Dikembe Mutombo is overrated as hell. I'll just say that.
You know what? Since Flannel has kind of issued that mea culpa in the beginning of the show, his Piston stuff has been so fire today.
Yeah.
Bro.
I appreciate it, man.
So fire.
It's always a good day when Sam eats some crow.
I did. Yeah, absolutely.
It's always a good day.
Absolutely.
Some scarecrow.
Oh, man.
All right, I'm going to combine 2, Dante151 and Charles McClain. Mailbag. Do you think the Tigers will be buyers or sellers at the trade deadline? And then the follow-up, of the 4 names I'm about to list, or of the 4 names mostly brought up in trades for Tigers, Ursula, Flaherty, Canna, Skubal, which is most likely to be traded? And Charles McClain still likes Skubal for Holiday. So buyers or sellers? And who's the most likely Tiger to get traded?
I think they'll be buyers. We got to do something at shortstop. We need a shortstop badly. Maybe first base is something we need to look into as well. And with Kerry Carpenter possibly being down for an extended amount of time, I would say that they would be buyers. And Jack Flaherty, of course. He's only on a 1-year deal. He's performing out of his mind right now. If you flip him at the deadline to a contending team, you will definitely get a nice return back.
Yeah. I would say they're going to be buyers. The one most likely would be Jack Flaherty, whose value keeps growing. The more he looks like 2019 Jack Flaherty. And it's the 1-year contract factor. And to me, I would not do Tarek Skubal for Jackson Holiday. I personally would pay Tarek Skubal. Is that going to happen? I'm not sure.
Yeah.
But
Pay that man.
Yeah.
I am a little bit concerned because these big prospects and these high draft picks are not always a sure thing. Spencer Torkelson. Jackson Holiday has gotten off to a horrific start in Major League Baseball. Does that mean his cement is dry? Absolutely not. But it gives me a little cause for pause because of how often these guys fail. Tarek Skubal's a known. Jackson Holiday is not yet. Even if you think that he's the next great shortstop, you just never know.
Law offices of Katz and Epstein agree with you.
Oh, thank you.
That they need more than Jackson Holiday for Skubal.
I can't get over that, dude.
All right, here, last one. I'm reading it without actually reading it, so good luck to us. But it is from Chef Talks Lions. Mailbag, tell Sam I was talking about him being unprepared to take that ass whooping, not about his prep. Oh, this is, giving you credit. Not about his prep when it comes to reading stats or whatever else.
Well, I appreciate that, Chef. And for the record, I wasn't upset, but I knew that I didn't do my best job, so I was a little bit like, damn, I had to like kind of analyze and get back where I went wrong. Because if you want me to be honest, in the heat of the moment, I didn't know why people were so upset. But when I looked back, it's like, yeah, I did kind of diminish the 04 Pistons. I shouldn't have done that. I should have made it more about hyping up the 17 Warriors and the matchups where I believe they have the advantage. But I did diminish particularly their finals win against the 04 Lakers, and I shouldn't have done that. So yeah, that was my mea culpa. And Chef, I'm not mad at you. I think you were a little disrespectful yesterday, but that's all well and good. And good luck in your endeavors. Good luck in your endeavors, and thank you for being a consistent supporter.
I don't think y'all understand how much I love this squad, man. I love Wake Up Woodward so.
Raphael Devers, bring him home.
Yes, sir.
Bring him home.
I love it. It's been a show.
Yes, take us out, baby.
Hump Day Wednesday, huh?
Hump Day.
Hump Day. You know what? Since it is Hump Day Wednesday, let's wrap this thing up, and I'm gonna start right here with the Diddy Boo.
Oh Lord,
we got Woodward Sports MVP in the building. JBSMOOOOOV.
Yo, Breast, it's been an amazing show. You guys are hilarious. Detroit versus everybody. Still, I don't care. Pistons all day.
Let's go. Detroit versus everybody. It never dies. In the sound booth, we got Detroit's #1 draft pick, Rookie of the Year, working on MVP.
All that.
We got KG KG.
Yes, sir.
AKA Black Hollywood.
Hey, great show today, man. Looking forward to tomorrow. It is my birthday. The finals start tomorrow.
Yeah.
Best birthday present I can have, man. So let's go, Mavs, and let's keep this shit rolling, man.
Hey, and listen, I want to see happy birthdays to KG on like almost all the shows because he's on like almost all the shows.
Yeah, 75% of the audio, baby.
Let's go.
Let's go.
Let's go, man. And you know what? Gotta shout out that dude Justin in the building as well. Those jerseys were crispy, man. They were crispy. If I could get a t-shirt like that tomorrow, I would order 10 of them. They would sit so perfectly right next to my Detroit signed shirts.
Beautiful.
Beautiful. You know what? Shout out to the vet of the squad today. Flannel Sam, as always, the vet of the squad. Flannel Sam Reynolds brought some heat today.
I appreciate that. And KG, happy early birthday. I'll be sure to shout you on the show tomorrow. And
Thank you.
the finals being tomorrow, what a hell of a birthday present. Because I'll tell you what, there is nothing that I enjoy more, a player in any sport that I like, besides maybe Patrick Mahomes winning Super Bowl MVPs, than a finals MVP.
Yeah.
You have no idea how often I use finals MVPs in arguments and in discourse, so I cannot wait to see who gets off the final MVP goose egg this finals.
Yes.
Finals MVP.
Shout out Chauncey Billups.
Shout out to
Absolutely.
Thank you, Brandon Cass, for the $5 super chat. Thank you, man. I appreciate it. Much love.
Happy birthday,
Much
KG.
love.
Let's go. Let's go. Shout out to our credentialed Tigers and Lions reporter and writer. That is Matthew Broder. Does a great job as always of really putting the show sheet together. Thank you.
Thank you for not following it today. I'm just kidding, man. It was great. Fun talking Pistons. I'm excited, man. I'm excited.
Yeah. I'm excited too, brother. And I appreciate everything everybody does on the show. It's awesome. Chat family, as always, you guys are the most important part of this thing. Go in and smash that like button, satisfy that like button. Treat it nice, y'all.
Yes,
Treat
sir.
it satisfied. I love it. It's your boy Brendan Den, aka Detroit Kool-Aid. It's been a great show. Shout out to our guest today, Detroit News Rod Beard. Make sure you guys tap in with the Detroit News and go back and look at the segments. It's a couple nice, funny segments with the legend that is. But hey, it's been Wake Up Woodward. We appreciate you guys. We hope you have a great rest of your day. Let's go.
Skirt.